Not a videographer today. Ms. Secretary Boyle, if you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Chair Welch.
Okay, well, welcome to the,
Chair Welch,
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I can hear you, but I had no way to download the materials. Somebody has been fooling around with the materials link, and it just shows who uploaded and downloaded things or deleted things. It has no list of materials as we had before. Something is really wrong with the system, with the organization, and with the management of this. Thank you.
I was just
okay.
saying that, I'm sorry, I was just saying that the only thing I've got nothing because I didn't have an identifiable email. Usually it came from webmaster.gov. And
Well,
you know,
whatever was preventing you from before, I'm not sure, but if you go to honolulu.gov/NCO, and then it'll come up with board listings and just click on number 5 Diamond Head. And at the top of there is agendas, 2024 agendas.
Okay.
So click on that.
okay.
And then at the top of the agendas is, it says, in the agendas, it has this year's agenda. So go to 7/24.
Okay,
next page.
I'm on now, so.
Okay, and then right there, meeting materials is at the top. And it's
Oh,
been
okay.
there, as far as I'm aware. I've checked a few times this week, and I saw some other things were added today by probably Tommy Waters' office and somebody else. So
Yeah.
I think all the materials are there. I don't think we need any passwords to get in there. So I think that's where everything is for tonight. And with that, I guess I'll call the meeting to order. I am Winston Welch. And so we have a couple of big business items this week, but welcome everybody and welcome to our community members as well. We appreciate you being here. We don't have a videographer tonight, so we might ask that if you are wanting to testify that you come up and sit in these chairs right here so that the mic can pick you up easily. And online, I see there's a hand up for, is that you, Camelia? Okay, it's just up there. Okay, so we have one board member vacancy here available. Is there anybody who would like to run in the, I believe it's the Diamond Head area, or anyone that's contacted you, Camelia? Anybody online or in person who is interested in running to fill the seat? Okay, well, tell your friends and neighbors we still have one open. With that, we will go to the public safety report, starting with our Honolulu Fire Department, who I saw was right out in front of this building.
Right.
Hi.
My name is Kainoa Sato. I'm the captain at the Waikiki Fire Station, 3rd Platoon. This is the month for June 2024. As far as fires go, we had 1 structure fire, 0 brush fires, 0 nuisance fires, 0 cooking fires, 11 activated alarms with no fires. We had 196 medicals, 1 motor vehicle collision with a pedestrian, 3 motor vehicle crash collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 2 ocean rescues, and 1 hazardous materials incident. The fire safety tip for this month is heat safety. Hawaii has some of the highest average and annual relative humidity in the country. When it is too humid, our bodies have a harder time cooling down, which can lead to heat-related illnesses. In the past decade in Hawaii, the average number of hot, humid days and very warm nights have more than doubled due to climate change and are expected to increase. Visit www.resilientoahu.org/subscribe to sign up for updates on heat in Hawaii this summer. Make sure you're prepared for the heat. Keep cool with fans or AC spaces and in the shade. Wear lightweight, loose-fitting clothing. Drink plenty of water. Stay out of the sun. Wear a hat outdoors or take an umbrella. Check on neighbors at high risk of heat-related illnesses. Find more resources about heat illnesses, extreme heat, and how to prepare at www.heat.gov. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sato. Are there questions from our board for Honolulu Fire Department? And any questions here for our members in person? Okay, and Michelle, you have a question? Go ahead, Michelle. Oh, you look like you're on mute.
Sorry. I have a concern because our board contacted the fire department requesting the chart of fires monthly. We were given this for February and April, but we have not received any chart since, and we're very concerned about fires on Diamond Head. And we'd like to know why the fire department has not supplied us with the chart we requested. I did contact the chief's office and I emailed the secretary, and I have not heard back on that either. So do you have that chart available tonight with the
No, I do
fires
not.
for the last 3 months?
No, I do not, and you can request again through hfdnhb@home.gov.
Yeah, that's the same answer we got last time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And could you tell us, do you know for the incident involving the pedestrian, where that happened? And
What incident are you talking about?
I thought that it was one motor vehicle collision with the pedestrian that you read.
So it's in 3 different districts and we compile it between Mo'iliili, us and Diamond Head. So it could have been a different truck, different watch. Yeah. I personally did not respond to that.
So, yeah. Thank you very much. For
Yep.
coming.
Thank you.
Okay, well, with that, we will move on to our next Honolulu Police Department, District 6, Waikiki, Kapiolani Park, Diamond Head.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Arita with District 6 Waikiki. So for the month of June, we had 7 robberies, 12 burglaries, 140 thefts, 9 car break-ins, 36 assaults, 2 sex crimes, 8 bicycle, skateboard on sidewalk citations, 4 speeding citations, 1,414 parking citations, 10 loud muffler and prohibited noise citations, 78 park closure citations, and 8 park closure arrests, with 4,750 total calls for service. One thing I want to point out is we did have an increase in robberies, including that Bank of Hawaii robbery that many of you probably saw in the news, but 3 of those robberies we did have arrests on, and those were immediate 911 calls. Officers responded to the area, or for the Bank of Hawaii one, we did have to do a little bit further investigation on that. But and then the other 3, the complainants or victims didn't want to prosecute or were uncooperative, and 1 required additional investigating where some of the statements were inconsistent. But as far as that goes, we also are finishing up our RIMPAC operations where we work with NCIS and the Navy. RIMPAC's going on, but they had their harbor phase that ended earlier this month. So we had an increase of officers on the weekends just to just monitor, and we work with their shore patrol just to make sure that all the sailors and everything were safe and, you know, they're conducting themselves appropriately. And just also an update in Waikiki this week, Saturday, we're going to be having a God's Ohana parade at 9 o'clock or 9:30, but we're closing Kalakaua Avenue at Kuhio Avenue at 9 o'clock, and we're expected to reopen at around 11 o'clock or when the parade opens. But that's all the information I have. Oh, and a safety tip or info is I want to encourage everyone to use the Honolulu 311 app. If you don't have that, it's an app that you can download on your phone. You put in some basic information, and it's really great where you can anonymously, or if you want to leave your information, report any type of incident. There's a drop-down box for, you know, animals or you know, potholes or graffiti. But for us, it's really good that, you know, if there's any type of nuisance type complaint that doesn't require immediate 911 service, or if you're just, you know, shy and you don't want to call 911 or speak to an officer, it's really good to report things. You know, you can take a picture, write a little synopsis. There's uses like a Google Maps type of GPS where you can put where the exact location is. We have each district has an officer that's assigned to review that daily, and then we get that information. And if you want to be contacted about, we respond and correspond. But it's a really good app. I use it myself to report nuisance type things in my neighborhood, and it's really great. But any questions, I can answer them right now.
Questions for Officer Arita from our board members? in person, online?
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. Um,
Yes.
I've been reading quite a bit about assaults on elderly, people, you know, grabbing their purses and all that.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering, is the police department trying to educate our senior citizens about how best to protect themselves?
Yes, so in Waikiki specifically, our community policing team works with I forget Meals on Wheels to work with the Kupuna groups, and we have every Thursday we have a Kupuna talk where we meet with residents of old folks' homes and everything like that, and people that are members of the Kupuna or Meals on Wheels programs, and we do like a either Zoom or in person, and we go over these type of topics. So whatever's in the mainstream news or any type of incidents that happen, we always answer questions about that or provide safety tips. And it's very similar to this where, we give statistics and everything like that. But for us in District 6, and I know some other districts do it as well, that's what we do. Every week we meet with a group of kupuna and we go over any like safety concerns and stuff like that. And I believe we're doing, I can get this information to the chair and he can pass it on, but we're doing a big kupuna meeting at IAEA Library either this month or next month, our community policing team, and it's kind of like an in-person live with the Meals on Wheels participants and other Kapuna programs.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, and other questions for Officer Rita in person or online? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, Officer Rita, for coming tonight.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, and with that, we will move on to our District 7 Diamond Head, Kapalulu, St. Louis Heights, East Honolulu. If I saw Officer Nishimura there, I'm not sure if you're up. I think you're on mute still. If you want to unmute Officer Nishimura. Okay, there you go. Let's see, is there any report from District 7? For HPD, CMA, okay, go ahead.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, if you're speaking, maybe try.
Sorry,
try
I
and-
had some technical issue.
Yeah.
But good evening.
Yeah, turn on your
Lieutenant
camera. Oh, you're cutting in and out, so
From HPD District 7.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
you're cutting in and out. Okay, a little better now.
You can't
Yeah,
turn off their video.
Yeah, turn off your video. That may help.
Hear me now?
Yep,
Bill,
go ahead.
is that a little bit? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
did that
it's-
help?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yes.
can hear you.
You want to put it in the chat?
Yeah, can you chat to him? Let's see. It's like that Verizon ad.
I had a some Teams call today like that.
Oh, you did. Yep, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Technical difficulties. The following is the. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? There's a delay.
Yeah. Just keep going. We got you.
Yeah, no? Okay. The following, yep, sorry. So following is the motor vehicle theft, 9, burglary 1, theft 14, UEMV is 6, with total calls for service 6,001. Our safety tip for the month is disaster preparedness. We are in hurricane season, and hurricane season is June through November. We also have always the threat of tsunamis. Encourage you to know your areas if you're in specific areas that are affected by either hurricanes or tsunamis. Also to have an emergency kit ready to go and know where you need to go in case you need to evacuate. But that's our safety tip, and thank you. That's our presentation for the month.
Okay, thank you. We have any questions from our board in person or online? Arlene?
No.
Okay, and anybody here in person with a question for District 7 or online for District 7? Okay, we're off to a slower month, so, okay, thank you for all you do, and please give our best to your fellow officers.
Okay, we'll do. Thank you. I'll work on the issues for next month. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, so this is on our next item, we're having elections for our board here. I am Chair Pro Tem in this regard. So I think actually, maybe we should get a roll call right now, if you could do that, Camelia, and see who's actually here.
Roll call for attendance. Alan? Here. Boydell?
Here.
David? Michelle, David? Hasina? Decker?
Here.
Khan?
Let's see here online. Alex, if you're there, just say here or put in the chat.
Knight? Here. Matson?
Here.
Murchie?
Here.
Velasco?
Here.
Welch?
Here.
Witzel? Here. Wong? Bruce Wong?
Here.
Linda Wong?
Linda,
She's been.
are you here, Linda? I see your face.
She's in that.
Can you hear us, Linda? Well, she's here. Let's just say she's
I see her.
varying degrees of here-ness. Okay. And Alex, are you here? Alex Khan?
Here.
Okay. Okay, so we have a few officer positions to fill. First is for chair, and I guess how do I do this, Camille? You just take nominations for chair?
Someone can.
Okay, are there nominations for chair either here or online?
I nominate Winston Welch for chair.
Second. I second. Margaret.
Do we need seconds?
No.
Okay, well, we don't need seconds, but thank you. Are there others?
I'll nominate Angie.
Angie? Are there others nominations for chair? Okay, seeing none, do we do a voice?
So we can do a roll call, and then when I call your name, just say the name of the person you want to nominate.
Can you say who the options are again?
Oh, okay, so we have Welch or Angie for chair.
And Linda just wrote in that she's here.
Perfect. So roll call for nomination for chair. Alan? Welch? Boydell?
Angie.
Decker?
Welch.
David. Hasina. Khan,
Welch.
Knight,
Me.
Matson,
Chair Welch,
Murchie,
Welch,
Velasco,
Welch,
Witzel, Bruce Wong,
Welch.
Linda Wong. Okay, and Chair Welch. Sorry.
That would go for me. And I don't know if Linda, did you answer, Linda? If you can't speak, maybe you can put it in the chat. Or maybe Linda's off now. Okay,
Okay, so let's. Okay, so 8 in favor for Welch, 3 in favor for Angie, so congratulations.
thank you. And thank you for offering that as well, Angie. Yeah, we need people to volunteer for these roles and to run. So our society depends on it. With that, okay, there you are, Linda, you're back. We can't hear you though, so you might be on mute.
Okay, they kicked me out, so I had to try again.
Okay, we are moving on to vice chair. Are there nominations for position of vice chair?
I'd like to nominate, sorry.
I was gonna nominate.
thank you.
Did you say Arlene? Okay. Are there other
I could
nominations?
nominate Angie.
Okay. There are other nominations? Okay, and seeing none, then shall we do the roll call for that?
So nomination for vice chair, just call the name. We have Arlene or Angie. Alan,
Arlene.
Boydell,
Knight.
What?
Decker,
Knight.
David, Hasina, Khan,
Arlene.
Knight,
I'll go me.
I
Matson,
can't.
Arlene,
Murchie, Murchie, are you here?
I said Arlene,
Velasco,
Myself,
Witzel, Bruce Wong,
I can't hear the, can you please speak loud enough so everybody can hear what you're voting for?
Bruce Wong. Sorry, can you say that again?
Say it again, Bruce. Arlene.
Arlene.
Linda Wong,
Arlene,
Welch,
Arlene.
okay, so 9 in favor for Arlene, 3 in favor for Knight. So congratulations, Arlene.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. And let's move on to the position we have next listed, which is for secretary. Do we have nominations for secretary? Yes, sir.
Nominate Boydell. Jason Boydell.
David Boyd, okay.
I
Other
nominate
nominees?
Dan.
Dan Decker, okay. Are there any other nominations?
I move that the nominations be closed.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, if you could do calls.
So,
It's another one.
nomination for secretary, just call the name Boydell or Decker. Allen. Boydell. Boydell,
Boydell.
Decker,
Abstain.
David. Hasina. Khan,
Abstain.
Knight. Boydell. Mattson,
Dan Decker.
Murchie,
Decker,
Velasco,
Boydell.
Witzel. See that?
Can the secretary, or the neighborhood board representative repeat the people if you can't, we can't hear it?
I'll repeat them at what they say, who
Thank-
they're voting for,
Thank
is
you.
what she says.
Is there far from
So if you say Witzel Boydell or Witzel Dan.
Thank you.
Bruce Wong,
Boydell.
just repeat, Boydell. Linda Wong,
Decker,
Welch,
Decker.
okay, so 6 in favor for Boydell, 3 in favor for Decker, 2 abstain. So congratulations, Boyd.
It's not the quorum, yeah. The quorum is 8, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We need a quorum member. So
How many is the,
quorum is 8,
The
Quorum.
magic number's 8, so no one got voted.
yeah.
okay, so then does that,
We could run it again if you guys wanted to. If not, we can defer it to the next meeting.
Sure,
But the quorum is 8, so we need 8 votes either way.
I see.
Oh, for a yes or no, but
Yeah.
abstain, that's.
Do it next month or
Let's do it next month. Okay, then let's pick this one up the next month. As well, so we need 8 either way. Okay, 8 yes votes for one person, is that what you're saying? Okay, okay,
Otherwise, we're not.
Because it's the vote is for the quorum number of seats, not the amount of people.
Okay.
okay. Then let's move on to treasurer for, say it again.
Well, it's regardless of the day.
Today we have, say 11?
yes, we have 11.
Yep.
but-
Sure.
Okay, and then, okay, so we will continue that next month, and I think in years past, we've had a couple months where we went without chairs. Let's move on to treasurer then. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
I'll nominate myself for treasurer.
Okay, Dan Decker? Dan Decker,
thank you.
Is your current treasurer?
Hmm?
Current treasurer?
No,
Is our current treasurer?
Linda's current treasurer. Okay, are there other nominations for treasurer? Okay, seeing or hearing none, do we still have to vote on that? Oh, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you want to call that one out.
So, nominating for treasurer, Decker, just call the name. When I call your name, Allen. Decker. Boydell,
Decker.
Decker,
Decker.
David, Hasina, Khan,
Decker.
Knight,
Decker.
Mattson,
Decker,
Archie,
Decker,
Velasco,
Decker,
Weitzel,
Decker.
Bruce Wong,
Decker.
Linda Wong,
Decker.
and Welch.
Decker.
Treasurer is Decker.
You, now we do have the option of having additional officers of the board needed to conduct its business. And I would entertain any, if there's folks that think, other boards have, second vice chairs, and others along those lines. You probably know some others.
Sergeant at Arms.
Sergeant at Arms.
I don't think we get too.
Hopefully not.
I don't think so.
Timekeeper.
Do we have any suggestions that we need for any other officers for this board?
Does the chair feel like he needs a second chair or? You
Well,
have a
second.
vice chair, though. Yeah, you have a
We have a
vice chair.
chair, so it'd be like a second vice chair, someone who, could follow issues and help inform the chair of things that, I might miss and just sort of have an officialish role in that.
Maybe like liaison between the subcommittees.
But yeah, watching the committees, yeah, that too, liaison with the committees. Is that of interest for this board?
The vice chair can always help the chair. That's the vice chair's job.
It is one of her very important jobs, along with keeping time and letting us know when people run over. Well, seeing that we don't have that right now, I suppose we could pick that up next month. If there's anybody, we just floated this idea for the first time. So if there's interest, we'll pick it up the next month again.
Timekeeper position.
well, I've been doing that. I interrupt everyone.
And also, yeah. Yeah.
If I may, typically there's a deputy attached to the presiding officer or so if somebody wants a deputy, like crisscross, we want to be a deputy treasurer. It's up to you. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's not a,
Well,
I
think we're
none of
good.
the neighborhood boards have that.
Chair Welch, we don't have that structure at the neighborhood board.
There's nothing for the treasurer.
There are second vice chairs. And that's usually what we've seen with other neighborhood boards.
Okay, then I'm going to say that we can pick this up next month since we haven't finished with this. So this is a new idea. Let's let it percolate for a month and move on to
Sure.
our next. Oh, we have some other official business here. So right now we do not have a recess. People can individually recess, but I've noticed that in the past, we're here to set our date, time, and location, right? And whether we have a virtual component, since we're about more virtual than we're not, or a lot of the times. I would propose that we keep the same meeting time, date, location, format, and recess schedule. Yes, sir.
That includes, because I know the last time we did it, it was December, was a recess.
We haven't had that for a few years, yeah. Because in December, what's often happened is so many things just slip.
You're saying no recess?
No recess, yes, essentially. But you could individually recess, of course. Yeah. And we can have up to 3 of those a year, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I was gonna say, what I've noticed that happens at city council, they purposely enter really controversial items right before a holiday that just happened in July. Just a couple weeks ago, and then, or a week ago, and then it really happens in December. I would say, I would recommend that stay
Stay with the same. Okay.
Wait, is this discussion or do we have to?
Yeah, we're discussing, I guess we just discussed, right?
Okay. I have an idea that I want to propose for discussion, which is to move it from the second Thursday to the second Tuesday, because council keeps meeting on Wednesday and we meet the day after, and we don't have enough time to digest what happened. And also HHFDC meets exactly the day that we meet, and a lot of our concerns have to do with housing and zoning. And so my suggestion is that instead of constantly butting heads against that, unable to testify or give voice, we move our meeting to before said meeting. So moving it to a Tuesday.
What days of the month are, like what week of the month do those take place?
So council, it depends on the schedule, but like they met yesterday. And then HHFDC meets second Thursdays.
I would second that.
So basically, we keep being on the same exact day as.
Kind of after their
Yeah.
meeting, so we got fresh info instead of meeting after they meet kind of thing, or
So right now, we're meeting on the second Thursday of the month. HHFDC meets,
What's the day change?
So instead of being on the second Thursday, we go second Tuesday. So if we have a resolution, we can vote on the resolution. Chair can pass it to said committee or whoever, and then that way it's actually heard in council or for said meeting
I see.
instead of retroactive.
Okay, so you're proposing a second Tuesday.
Yes, just
And-
moving us by 2 days.
Okay,
how does that affect the calendar? Does it bump it? I mean, does it move it the year down, or? I mean, how does it affect our yearly schedule? Does it move
It just
things?
means instead of meeting in August on the second Thursday, we meet August the second Tuesday.
right.
Yeah.
And they're on the second Tuesday for every other month. And this is a
Again,
big
that's for
change for
discussion.
people, but it's just switching the day. So Michelle, you've got some comment or question?
Yes, city council did change their schedule. They were meeting after our board meeting, I think the third Wednesday of the month. And suddenly it changed. The day before our board meeting, which really shortchanged us because every motion we had or every resolution or anything to do with what the council was deliberating, it was after the fact. So I agree with the change. I'm not sure that the second Tuesday is enough time before council meetings, and definitely HCDA. I agree with the change to before the council meeting and HHFDC. But I'm thinking we may need a little more time to distribute our action and provide the written testimony.
Okay. Yeah, and just as there's a couple comments for people that may not be able to see them, which is Amanda says, consider whether or not the venue is available. And I think the NCO office would have to be available
I
and
think there's a lot of consideration.
a lot.
Venue availability,
Olelo.
camera person availability.
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Um,
If you wanted to do like a temporary sort of like motion to make the change subject to availability or something.
or maybe that we all think about this because some people may go to church or temple or whatever as well and would need to talk about if they could even make that change. But the
So-
rationale is smart.
Next month, once we look into availability and et cetera factors, by we, I mean you, because you're chair. So you look into that, then we can vote on it.
Okay, so postpone this to,
Neighborhood Board Commission to let us know what's available.
Well, like right now is an example where there was an overbooking of neighborhood board meetings tonight and so many of them could have a camera person.
exactly, right. So we don't know that, but let's get some other comments here. I see Daisy, you've got a comment?
Yes, thanks, Chair. You need to rethink the second Tuesday because it's a bang with Waikiki Neighborhood Board who meets on Tuesday, the second Tuesday. And then don't forget the HPD District 6 and 7 will be split. So you need to really think you are going the same night as Waikiki Neighborhood Board on the second Tuesday. And also whether or not the place is available. There's a lot of things you need to reconsider. So maybe just think about it and then really check with the neighborhood commission to see what is available. Because trying to go against the Waikiki board, I think you're gonna lose some audience members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And I saw that another comment went in there that says first or second Monday or first Thursday. So yeah, how about the first Thursday?
I think it's all subject to resources.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, well, let's just theoretically ask, would the first Thursday work as well as the second Tuesday? Maybe we could give some choices here.
Excuse
Maybe
me.
just research. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Thank you. I was kicked off again, so what are you guys talking about changing the neighborhood board meeting day?
Correct. We're looking at, there's factors to be considered, so it wouldn't happen before September, I'm guessing at the earliest, but there's an idea to change it to the second Tuesday, possibly the first Thursday, but
This is brought up sometimes through the years, and it's always not passed because people are used to having our neighborhood board day on the second Thursday from the
But then it's
police.
always after the city council meeting, Linda. We're
Yeah,
always after that way.
oh, because the city council meets on Wednesday, right?
They
Exactly.
changed their Wednesday to before our meeting.
well, the other question I'd have is how important is it to be? I mean, they meet every month, and so ideally, they're not taking action until they have a series of this, that, or the other. But I mean, I'm happy to, it doesn't matter to me exactly, but
I think I kind of had the idea, sorry, this is Angie, by the way. I was thinking a lot about the mixed use, the missing middle, not mixed use, so sorry, but the missing middle, the SB 3202, and we had a lot of resolutions regarding that, and it was always past events. And so I think if we are trying to get more engaged and more organized with our voice in the community and with the resolutions, like look at the committees that are important to us. Like I know zoning is later in the month. And so we're kind of like, we still have time for that one, but like HHFDC, council and stuff like that, try to preempt it instead.
and maybe I might suggest that the first Thursday then would be better, because if we just have one day before the meeting,
That's fair.
it's probably too late to submit testimony on a lot of things, at least written testimony. But why don't we see what we could get done with NCO?
First Tuesday, first
If you
Thursday.
guys want to change the date, I guess we could make a motion to consider it and then put it on the agenda next month. See if you guys agree, and we can also look if it's available. Want to change the date.
Do we need,
How about the first Tuesday and the first Thursday?
No, I
okay,
think-
okay, how about first Tuesday and first
Chair Welch,
Thursday?
Chair
Yeah,
Welch,
yes.
I'd
Yes.
just like to cut to the bottom of this.
Mhm.
Let's find out when the facilities are available. We have two
Oh.
choices, the
Yeah.
Alaway Golf Course Clubhouse and also Pocky Holly. And if the Neighborhood Commission cannot provide the service that they are supposed to be providing, we will have to do it ourselves according to what we have to do. And somebody is going to have to tape these meetings. We just can't have an absent videographer and have a requirement to have video minutes and there's no video. So there's a lot to be considered here. And I think the location is the number one issue.
Right.
And so find out, I would recommend that we find out where there is an opening and on what day, and then bring it back to the board. Any options that are available next month.
Okay, and thank you for that. I would also suggest that we focus on the first Tuesday and the first Thursday
And focus on this event venue
and this
because
venue.
Poppy Holly is rat infested. I had to conduct a meeting there and it was full of
Rat infested.
Yeah.
rat turds and mice turds. So I highly recommend not going there.
It's also very hot and
Well,
That's concerning because the children
Yeah.
play with the toys there.
Yes, and adults just who don't want to be around rats and all
No,
that.
I didn't feel comfortable breathing in that house.
Okay, so we will,
Wow.
then let's do, can we,
That's not
if
good.
we postpone it or do we?
Post-
Okay, well,
till
well,
we
we'll
get more
postpone this
information.
particular day issue. Looking at this place for the first Tuesday or first Thursday of the month, preferably with this location, subject to availability of Olelo, the neighborhood commission, and that's it.
Where we meet now.
What about
Yeah,
the-
that's what I'm
What
saying.
about the Kaimaki Library?
You
No,
know,
I
that's
don't wanna
another
change
possible
things.
option. It was cool. It cost $20 every month, but I think we have some dough that we could kick towards that. Although, yeah, we'll find that out. We will come back in a month, but otherwise,
Excuse me, Chair. This is Daisy. May I remind you
there-
that the first Thursday is McCullen Moili Neighborhood Board. They have a videographer there. And first Wednesday is Bonoa Board. Same thing. Thank you.
Do we really care what every single other board?
yeah, I think we'll have conflicts, but Moili, okay.
I think it's because their board likes to attend ours. That's why.
It's general. I don't really care about, but
Right, relatively.
relative.
Does this library have meeting space?
I don't know. I just know Kaimuki's not technically our district, so we should try first in our district before
Absolutely.
venturing outside of our district. It just made sense.
Yeah.
Check that they have. Most libraries have at least a big enough meeting room.
Okay, we can check around and see what that is, but preference here because parking's easy.
I think the library, that the Kapahulu Library has meeting space, right?
I don't know, but I think our chairs, I keep putting this on him, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
They're gonna look into.
We'll look into that, but otherwise, can we agree that the time, location and form,
I,
right?
I,
Go ahead, Linda.
okay, there's a lot of things that we have to check, and there'll be people going to the wrong place for at least a year or something. It's, people are, if it's for, so we can get in testimony earlier and be counted, then I think that's a good reason. That's the only reason I'd probably consider it. But, to change it, maybe on a different Thursday if we can. And keep it
Well,
on the Thursday, you know, it's a big change for a lot of people. We've had this.
It is,
Karen and my time, so that's at
it
least.
is.
years.
And somehow life is filled with changes, but we would navigate that together. I still say Daye, the older people than me say Holiday Mart, the youngins say Don Quixote. So we will do our best, Linda, and come back in a month with some options here.
Chair Wells,
Yes, ma'am.
regarding the meeting time, it's difficult for some people to make 6 o'clock. That's when people are trying to finish up their workday and try to get something to eat. I suggest we go back to a more normal time. Our meetings used to be at 7 o'clock and they're restricting us to 3 hours. If we do 6:30, it would be 9:30. So I think 6 o'clock also, if we're changing things, we have to look at that too. I don't see a great turnout tonight, so let's see if changing the time might make a difference.
Okay. We have, we have actually more than we had last few months. Yeah, more people than normal here are good. So,
Sorry for you.
yeah, it is a point, Michelle. And I think the other option is that getting home so late is also not palatable because we do tend to use every minute of our time, which would be finishing at 10. And
Also, the guy who puts everything away rides the bus. And
Right.
so that's why we end here at 9.
that's one of the reasons.
But I
Yeah.
agree with the 6:30 thing, but just saying why we end here at 9 is because that's what we have to do because bus.
No, we don't have to do that because there is a 3-hour meeting slot.
We'd have to change it.
And we have been iced out of our regular procedure since 2021. And it's time to get back into what is comfortable for the public this is a larger public interest issue. But by not many people there, I don't see a lot of board members online or, I mean, we have several missing board members at this meeting tonight.
That's true. I mean, it's subject to the will of the board. But do we want to think about all this for a month then and come back in a month and think about if you want to start later and finish later, or even if it's a possibility, which it may not be? So
Sure.
why don't we come back in a month then, and see how everything is? Okay, why don't we look at the last item there, board business, which is adoption of oral testimony rules. We've kind of gone around and around on this in the past couple of years, but it seems to be working now as long as we respect each other's time, and if we look like we're not, then Arlene's pretty good about letting us know. Can we keep the same testimony rules that we have, which is a couple minutes each for public comments with some generous,
Exceptions.
yes.
Chair Welch,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I think our current oral testimony rule is to be limited per person per agenda item to 2 minutes for the first 2 times speaking in a meeting, and then to 30 seconds for each agenda item for the rest of the meeting. We've had that for the last 2 years.
I
Well-
thought that went out with a previous chair. That is highly restrictive on important issues, especially for board members and the public. I think that is too dictatorial and authoritarian, so I would vote against that.
Okay, are there other thoughts in this, Linda? You're on mute, Linda.
Is that better?
Yep.
No? Yeah?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Not to make too many changes at one time, because if we could keep it to the changes down to, they still wouldn't miss the meeting, keep the meeting at the same place, then that would be good.
Okay, well,
A lot of
yes, and
changes throw people.
we're on,
They're used to same thing.
okay, we're on oral
So
testimony
I wouldn't be
rules right
changing
now.
the time and the place, change one thing at a time.
Okay, well, we will take that under consideration, but we're on oral testimony rules right now of whether or not, I mean,
I'm finished.
okay.
Dylan.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Well, I was just gonna say that there was an outburst that happened previously that was not recognized by you. And I think there are things like that that kind of stall up what we're doing.
Okay. Well, as far as our rules for oral testimony, I feel like this last year's been pretty much working at, the way that we have it at 2 minutes. The other thing is way too hard to keep track of.
It's very hard to keep track of and to determine how many times somebody has spoken in the meeting. I think if we really keep it to 2 minutes, that we can still keep the board moving.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I would say the biggest problem we have is not like the 2 minutes of speaking. Because if you just want to talk for 2 minutes straight, that's easy to keep track of. The problem is, I ask a question, like right now, I'm probably speaking about 30 seconds. If I'm now waiting for a response from you or anyone else, then I start talking again after I get a response. And the next thing we know, what sounds like a 2 minute interaction might be between me and you or me and another person has like 5 or 6 minutes of discussion.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think we're speaking about actually making statements versus.
Versus dialogue.
Sure, so 2 minutes of statement time.
Well, so I mean, I'm a little loose as the chair. I realize that, like, technically, Dan's supposed to say, Mr. Chair, I'm supposed to recognize Dan, that sort of thing. So maybe we can all tighten up a little bit and still say, stay copacetic. I don't know. I think that the 2 minutes per speaking time, if we're.
Sure. I mean, I guess if we want to go with Robert's Rules of Order in its entirety with motioning, motioning, you want to motion something to discuss. 2 minutes has been the standard, right?
I just don't know how 2 minutes in our situation, because of the way people ask things or say things,
Oh.
Like, I just spoke for 30 seconds before, now I'm talking again. In the meantime, you talk.
Exactly.
I see.
So it's kind of like, when does the 2 minutes reset? Because a lot of the times we interrupt or
Well,
then rebuttal.
If I may, I think accordingly, I think all the questions are directed to the chair. And then, you know, you would ask the chair.
But that's part of the problem, is that's been done.
Well, maybe
There's a
people
lot
could
of
be,
policy procedural things that never been done, so.
You sure?
so maybe we can be a little more cognizant of that, just so it's not a free for all, which it can be. Because people are passionate and they don't feel heard. So, yes, ma'am.
Let's try to use the raise hand function with everyone.
That as well, yeah.
Say it again.
Use the raise hand function.
Use the raise hand function. Okay, so do we have some consensus that we can keep this? I mean, if we go down and try and split hairs about this, poor Arlene is going to have total gray hair by trying to keep track of Dylan talked for 10 seconds before she's interrupted by this and that and the other. So we just agree to get along and keep it at 2 minutes. Yes, ma'am. Is there something in the chat? Linda, go ahead.
I think we've done pretty good this year. I think that the only time I see us talk freely like this is when we're trying to decide, or what are we gonna change with the meeting? Like, you know, you're talking about changing the place or time or day. Then there's a little bit of leeway because it's just us talking. It's not somebody else that's gonna raise their hand and from the audience and interject. So, I think we've done pretty good with the rules that we have.
Okay. So can I have a consensus that what we have printed up at the top here, that public concerns are commented, limit 2 minutes each, but that we may have multiple concerns that come out through the day, to be succinct, to not run over people, to address the chair when you remember to, and hopefully that's always, et cetera. Is that reasonable?
You try it, you have to go.
Let's call for a vote to keep it as 2 minutes there. And I will call for the vote. Is that parliamentary enough, Dylan?
Maybe a motion in a second, just to say.
Do I have a motion to say, let's just keep with this as it's written, as we've been more or less carrying out in the last?
Here, let's motion
So
to do.
moved.
Okay, it's Michelle.
Second.
And second,
Second.
Arlene. Okay,
Okay, so the motion on the table is to keep the oral testimony rules the same as.
Yeah.
As written.
as written, yeah.
Okay, Alan.
Wait, we have discussion now, right? Now it's time for discussion.
Oh,
That is how it goes.
that's true. I'm sorry. Discussion. Mr.
And my
Boyd.
hand has been up.
Boyd.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes, so as I said, the current rules, which the board adopted 1 year ago, is to limit oral testimony per person per agenda item to 2 minutes for the first 2 times speaking in a meeting, and then to 30 seconds for each agenda item for the rest of the meeting. And I'm sure you'll recall that this was, you know, discussed a year ago, and there was some objection to it, but that is the rule that the board adopted. And so I'd like to, you know, clarify, and I think it's worked pretty well over the past 2 years. So I'd like to, you know, clarify in this motion, is it that rule or is it not, you know, taking out the 30-second limit after speaking twice?
why did we say take out the 30-second limit? I can't remember any time in this last year, maybe one contentious meeting where that came up ever, and it's impossible to keep track of. So I would say just scrap any 30-second rule. And again, let's just be cognizant of how much time we're taking if we're repeating. Yeah, that it's just 2 minutes standard for all testimony.
All testimony. Yeah, so I would be opposed to that because I think without that rule, we're going to have a much longer time with certain people speaking, dominating
Okay.
the meeting.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, a point of
Yes,
order.
ma'am. Go ahead.
I think that if this is a problem, if it's going to be a debate about how we're comfortable with our meetings, giving the public enough time, the 2 minutes, or anyone else, then we just rescind that rule, which many people didn't support in the first place, if it's necessary to take a vote to rescind it. Otherwise, let's just proceed with an amicable discussion that we will keep the, what is written the same on our agenda. Thank you.
Okay, and Dylan? I'm sorry,
I was gonna say,
Dylan.
the cleanest way to do it is if we're taking it that the current rules are what Boyle was saying, then motion to change the rules to 2 minutes would be
Okay, I would,
proper, I guess.
then I would amend that to change it to 2 minutes, just as a general rule for everything.
I second that.
And Arlene seconds that. Okay, thank you for that friendly amendment. Linda? You're on mute. You're still on mute. Do it again, Linda.
It's off.
We hear you.
Okay, thank you. I would support that also, Chair Welch.
Okay, then how do we do this now? We've had a motion, call for the vote. Thank you.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is to change the oral speaking rules to 2 minutes for agenda.
yeah,
The motion is to change the oral testimony rules to 2 minutes for testimony
Per agenda.
per agenda item.
yeah.
Per speaker.
Per
Yes.
speaker.
Per agenda,
Yes.
per speaker.
Thank you. Mr.
I removed 2 seconds.
So Ellen,
Aye.
Boydell,
Nay.
Decker,
Abstain.
Michelle David, Hasina, Khan,
Aye.
Knight, Matson,
Hi,
Murchie,
Aye.
Velasco,
Aye.
Whitesell,
Aye.
Bruce Wong,
Aye.
Linda Wong,
Give it hands up or hands down, Linda. Thumb up or thumb down. Is that an up? Okay.
Yes, yes.
and Chair Welch.
Aye.
Okay, so I have 9 or yes, 1 no, 1 abstain. The motion is adopted.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for our public for forbearance in this. It's hard to get through this stuff, but if we don't get through this stuff first, the rest of the year is going to be more of a mess. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that, since that was kind of a process, if we could maybe change the agenda to move community concerns up before the next item, just in case there's anyone here that has anything they want to say or online, just because it's been over an hour already, and if they have something else they want to do, or
We have the public.
I mean, they could sit through the other stuff later. if they-
That's true. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then do we need
If anyone has any objection to it.
any objection? Then let's move to community concerns first, where there's a 2 minutes for each testimony regarding topics or issues not listed on this agenda. So are there any folks in person who want to bring up any community concern that you've got? Now, we will have, in a minute, we're going to have KCC Board of Water Supply, the electrical box at Waikiki Elementary, the Wahine Festival, and Kennedy Forum coming up here in a minute. So anybody here in person who wants to bring something up that's not on there? And online? Okay, Taylor, go ahead. Taylor, you're on mute.
let's see.
Oh, she's
I
not-
have
It's an-
sorry. I have an announcement for an event, so I don't know if you do want to wait. It's just not on the agenda. It's not the Nawahine thing. It's another one. So I can wait until the next section if you want, or I can go now.
Go ahead and go now because those others are on the agenda.
Okay. So just every year. But it's a running race. It's gonna be this is at Capulani Park. Um It's the first of the Bioasta Marathon Readiness Series. So it's the 15K. It's the Norman Tamahana 15K. Yeah, okay, so we'll start at Capulani Park. It's the same start and finish as the marathon, and then they'll go down around Kalakaua. The only change with the road and whatnot is the Mauka side of Kalakaua will be closed for a little bit. Then they go to Kahala Mall and turn around and come back. There's no road closures or anything. They just run on the side of the road, so there's really minimal impact to traffic or the community and so on. And then it's really short as well. It's only a 15K. It starts at 6 in the morning. It's August 11th. It's Sunday, August 11th. Starts at 6 in the morning, and then we should be out of there by like 8 in the morning. It's very short. Yeah, shouldn't be
Okay.
too. Nothing's different than any other year. It's Mid Pacific Roadrunners, so it should be pretty simple.
Okay, and you were a little garbled at the beginning. What is the race called and what day and time is it?
It's the Norman Tamahana 15K. But it's the first race for the BioAustin Marathon Readiness Series. The date is August 11th. It's a Sunday.
At 6 a.m. you said is the start?
Correct. Yeah, that's the start
Okay.
time.
Okay. If you want to put that also in the chat, that would be great, Taylor.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Linda, you have a community concern as well that's not on the agenda?
Actually, yes, there's two. I'd like to know what time the race would end. And also, I wanted to tell everyone that I had a chat with District 6, and any amplified music is not allowed in any beach park. So these people playing all these big boom boxes and stuff, it's not allowed. So we can take some movement on that just by at least telling everyone. You're supposed to use earbuds. You're not supposed to use amplified music and try to make one louder than the other, which happens at Kaimana Beach a lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Daisy?
Thank you, Chair. My concern is regarding the next month on the 18th, the city plans to change major changes on the bus routes. Unfortunately, very few people know about it. I was at the bus stop and hardly anybody knew that there was going to be changes next month. The city did put up a sign on Paki bus stop between Kapahulu and Montserrat, which listed a new bus route, but nothing to say that we no longer have Route 23 and 24 stopping there anymore. That would be discontinued, nor is there any sign at Ala Moana Center saying no bus anymore for 18, which goes to Makiki, and bus number 23, which goes all the way to Hawaii Kai. The city needs to do more things to let people know, because a lot of people have no idea until we start telling them the bus is going to change next month, then completely big changes. So the city should do a lot more changes. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder, Daisy. It's, do you remember what day the city said that's going to start?
This is going to be after the Emission Day holiday, which is August 18th, a Sunday. That's when it's going to start. And I only see one notice so far. So the city needs to really beef up and let more people know, because many people will be completely surprised next month. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good point for the mayor's rep is, I know the DTS was here or last month and so many big changes on those routes. I mean, I don't think the people realize
It's a lot.
There's a lot.
a lot of changes. So maybe we can ask DTS to come back again and just explain this or see.
Or ask what they plan to do to notify the public better.
Yeah,
Just put the signs up on the stops.
yeah. Okay, we can do that. Thank you. And Linda, you got another question or comment?
I just wanted to let the mayor's rep know that and to come back to us about non-notification with the bus routes. People are gonna miss.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And let's see. Amanda did say she's seen DTS doing presentations at all the neighborhood board recently. There's been some press releases. But obviously the masses may not know. And I mean, there's a lot of bus stops that are going to be putting people's houses right in front. And I don't see how they're going to navigate some of these turns either. If you had two big buses on Mauna Loa where 7th goes, you can't even get a car to turn there. Two buses at the same time. They're going to have to eliminate parking everywhere. Anyway. Okay, thank you for that, Daisy. It's a good reminder, and we will ask the mayor's rep to follow up on that. Are there any other community concerns not on the agenda? Then let's move back to Board of Water Supply. Carol? Oh, I'm sorry.
Should I just sit right here?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right.
Thanks for your patience.
Oh, of course, no problem. I'm Stephen Nordstrom from the Board of Water Supply, and for the month of June in the Diamond Head Neighborhood Board District, we had one main break. It was a large main break. It was a 20-inch main break at 2839 Dole Street, right at the bottom of St. Louis Heights. Our monthly announcement is we're inviting everyone to join us for our annual Unthirsty Plant Sale. It's going to be at our Halava Xeriscape Garden, which is at the ends of Halava Valley. It's going to be August 3rd from 9 to 3 p.m. And it's going to be a family fun event. We'll have a variety of Xeriscape plants by local vendors, a team of plant doctors from UH Master Gardener Program, educational booths, some free soil conditioner, as well as some Cactus and Succulent Society of Hawaii's displaying some of their succulents. If you want more information, I put some flyers on the table over there, or you can go to our website at boardofwatersupply.com. And Kathleen provided me an update regarding the fencing project. She mentioned that the contractor has completed the painting portion of the project and has commenced the landscaping work as of this week. Landscaping work is anticipated to be conducted through mid-late August. And last month, board member Arlene Velasco asked about the board, if the Board of Water Supply was part of the Red Hill Advisory Board, that the EPA is moving to disband, and I was correct. The answer was no, we were not. So yeah, we were not a part of that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. And questions for our Board of Water Supply?
I have a question. Is there any concern about drought conditions this summer?
Oh yeah, we're always concerned about drought. March actually was interesting because we actually surpassed our 5-year monthly average because water usage was on the increase, but it actually has been dropping down. So it definitely, we're always concerned about conservation, and yes, there's always drought conditions that we want to be concerned about. So not as bad as before. Actually, we're not in a super big drought, but definitely want to be mindful of your water use always.
And then the other question I have is there an update on the wells that have been closed or were closed because of the Red Hill spill? Are new wells being drilled, and what's the status?
Oh, yeah, we do have, I know there are new wells that I'm not sure exactly. I know we have a couple of wells that there are current projects for. I can find out and get back to you next month on those wells.
Great.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay, Angie?
I have 2 questions.
Yep.
You said a lot of numbers about March. Was that a good or a bad thing when you said we surpassed?
Oh, that was bad.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a 5-year monthly average, which the year before, back in was it 2023, we actually were doing really good. This year we were a little concerned because it did surpass that, but I looked at April and May, and we actually now are on a downward trend, which is good.
So we averaged into the good space.
Yes, we are in the good space right now, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So
I try to watch the local morning news every
Yeah.
morning just to keep up with what's going on locally, and I haven't heard anything mentioned in the local news. Maybe that would be good
Oh, about,
Public announcement about the drought and
Oh.
conserving water.
yeah, I don't think we're in a drought, but again, as we look at it and as I look at it, water conservation is so big in my mind. It's always about trying to push that conservation. Just because we're not in a heavy drought, people still need to do their part to conserve. It's the island-wide effort. But yes, that's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if you have the answer to this. 'cause
Okay, if I don't, I can follow up and get back to you.
Okay, do you know at the plant sale, kind of like the range of price for the plants?
That is a great question. I have no clue, but I will find out and let you know for, well, next month.
It's okay, I guess.
I can email you. I can send an email to the chair and have him forward something to you.
Yeah.
No, if you're talking like.
And copy,
Yeah.
Amelia.
Amelia, okay.
Okay.
Okay, and Linda, you got a question?
Okay.
You, Linda, do you have a question or no?
Thank you.
Okay, your hand is up. And Taylor, your hand's up. Do you have a question? I'm guessing no questions there and the hands are errantly up. I did have a question about xeriscaping.
Yeah.
The plant sale, or just a caution that the Board of Water Supply, whoever actually is carrying it out, be really cognizant of fire ants.
Yeah.
And that they lay down plastic tarps and put some braid around the edges, just in case, because those are, it's in one pot and you will, and it could inadvertently, transport those to the rest of the island. I don't know where they're being grown, but yeah.
I can ask to see what their procedure is this year for fire ants to really get back to you.
Really good.
Okay, sounds good. Good question.
Any other questions for water supply? Linda has a question. Go ahead, Linda.
Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of this.
You got to speak a little louder, Linda.
No, I don't. Thank you very much. I'm trying to
Oh,
change
okay.
it. Yeah, there, it's gone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming, Stephen.
Oh, that's it.
All right, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. KCC, we have, do we have, oh, there you are. Okay, Dean Hushko.
Good evening, Chair Wells, board members, and friends, community members. I'm here this evening, and I'm not going to try to show slides because I had bad luck. So I'm going to talk this evening very briefly about program delivery. Recently, on the 27th of June, the Culinary Institute of the Pacific at Diamond Head and the Culinary Institute of America announced a collaboration between the two institutes. The collaboration marks a pivotal moment for creating a world-class institute in Hawaii. Through this initiative, there are going to be workforce development programs that are uniquely rooted in Hawaii's cuisine and culture. And the first 5-day culinary intensives are going to be offered starting in September. There are going to be 8 of these offered through the year. And over the next 3 years, there'll be 24 of them. They're going to be intermediate professional level courses, and seats are going to be limited to the size of the lab, which is 16. And believe me, they're going very quickly. HTA donated 32 scholarships for people to participate because they are a little more expensive than our regular non-credit culinary classes. And what I've done is I've written a little synopsis, and I have a link that I'm going to put into the chat for you. So you can go and look at a summary of this and then also see a video. So that's what I have for the evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for Dean Hushko? You're looking like you have it.
I do have
Great.
a question. Are the intensives, those are the ones that are open to the public or just those in the culinary school? Sorry, I feel like you've said that before.
No, actually, the intensives are going to be open to intermediate level people, and you can go, I recommend that you go on to the site that I'm going to put into the chat to take a look. There are only 2 listed right now, but in the next year, there'll be 6 more after this. But as I said, you know, they go really quickly, so you'll have to keep watching that site to see. They're not the types of classes that our non-credit has been offering, you know, for everyday cooking and that type of thing, but you'll see what, you'll take a look at it and you'll see the types of classes. The instructors are going to be from the Culinary Institute of America, and so is the curriculum. Okay? Okay.
Sweet, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Margaret?
I think that
Oh,
I'm
Margaret?
off topic though. This is with regard to the Waikiki Aquarium. You're not in
Yes,
charge.
Margaret.
Are you Carol?
Oh,
I'm sorry, Margaret. I didn't hear your question. It broke up.
Oh, okay. Do you have any input into the Waikiki Aquarium? Them taking out the demolition of it?
No,
the
I'm sorry. I
displays?
don't. No, I don't.
Yeah, okay. And I think we should talk about that too in our meeting.
okay.
Oh, you
Extend-
mean at the Diamond Head meeting?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
we should bring that up.
All right.
Okay, and Linda, do you have a question for Dean Hoshko? Or I think your hand might just still be up. So, okay,
I
thank you.
thought Linda might be interested in the classes, actually.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Dean Hoshko.
You're quite welcome. I'll put this announcement in the chat.
Okay, thank you. We have some special guests here tonight talking about the electrical box at Waikiki Elementary School and making that pretty. And it was going to be from the PTO Walk and Roll Committee of Yamato Sasaki, but we have a substitute for Yamato. And if you want to come up here, you can, you'll be in the camera that way and sort of spacing us too.
By the mic, actually.
Yeah, the mic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys should. It's cool.
Sure, go ahead and tell us who you are and what we just got here.
Hi, good evening, Chair Welch, board, audience, in person and online. My name is Carrie Arakaki, and I'm the art teacher at Waikiki Elementary.
Oh.
Here we have Aviana McPeak Batlin, and she is the artist, fifth grade artist who just graduated from Waikiki Elementary. Awesome. We're here to present the Electric Box project. We are planning to present that because we want to discourage vandalism and then, to beautify the community. The chosen art piece will be at the corner of Montserrat and Leahi. And we plan to have Aviana's art piece outlined by a professional artist, but then it's going to be like a prep for, it's like a paint by numbers. So then the children at Waikiki are able to do it as a community project. And then we are waiting approval from DTS and from the Mayor's Office of Culture and Art. But before I turn it over to Aviana, we would like to request a letter of support for this project at the end. So here is Aviana.
Hello, my name is Aviana McPeak Batlin. I just finished going to Waikiki Elementary School, and I made this drawing because when I go to school, I walk most of the time, and I always see a lot of the kids in my class and people that I'm friends with biking to school or walking. And then when I walk to school, there's also a lot of flowers. And yeah. So that was my inspiration. And I also do that so people could be more encouraged to wear helmets more because like a lot of the times when I walk and get picked up from school, I see a lot of people like riding their bike and stuff, but they don't wear helmets.
Thank you for thinking of safety. It's very mindful of you.
Okay. Well,
Thank
that
you
is
for having
great.
us.
And we might have some questions from the board.
I would just like to comment, I think it's beautiful. Be a welcome addition to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Angie?
You said you just graduated from the school, yeah?
Yeah.
Congrats, first off. And then also, this is, like Arlene said, this is very, like, I really like it and it's very beautiful. And also, as a person who does a lot in pedestrian safety, thank you so much for the helmet inclusion, because I think that is something that we often forget of all ages. So thank you so much for that. And also the traffic light, so people know to cross at said light. So thank you for that.
Any other comments or questions from our board?
Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say thank you. I think it's a really good drawing. And I think it'll look really beautiful as an art piece as well. And as others have said, that there are some of us here who really want to encourage the walking and bicycling and using that as a form of transportation, how to get to school or work, and helmets a nice detail to them.
Yeah, I also want to say this, it's great design. I mean, you got nice motives. You got a tree in there, flowers. It looks like you got birds and kids on bikes and promoting a lot of safety there. It's great. As you said, it's through DTS, right? So is this a city traffic box or is it a HECO box or?
I'm not sure, but then we can get back to you.
Is it on a pole? Like sticking?
Yeah, no, the one that we're thinking about, it's like,
Floor.
yeah. It's like,
It's a gray box and it's like this. And it has like a little vent thing.
Uh-huh.
It kind of looks like a locker, like a singular locker, but
Okay.
like smaller.
Is that on the corner where the school is then? That,
yeah,
okay.
it's right across the street.
Okay. So when are you anticipating installing this?
Whenever we get the approval. Yeah, and I know that takes some time.
You got to go through MOCA, the Mayor's Commission on the Arts, and then some DTS approval and then the mayor's office as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Well, when do you need the letter by?
Whenever is best for you guys. It would be amazing if you guys could
Just
send
get a
that.
little letter for me.
Yes, we don't have like a specific date that it's, we need it by, but it would be nice maybe within the week, if possible.
How do we do this since it's not on the agenda? Can we say we support this? I'm asking Dylan since he's on the board. I'm sorry, I should ask Amelia, but I'm sorry.
I guess that's the question.
Oh, I guess as soon as possible would be great, because then the artist that's going to be helping us with the project is only on the island until August.
There's like, sorry, interrupting on this, but I was gonna say, there's definitely, once you present to the board, then you can then follow up to the chair and you can confirm in an email that you presented it. Like, he can say it like informal-ish way, and like, if we do support. But I think what Dylan's talking about is normally we have to present it as an agenda item for something that we've written up. But I don't know if I'm mistaken that.
I think that's true, isn't it? If we're asked to vote on something, it should be on the agenda.
If it's something as concrete as an actual letter. But I think maybe if we just wanted to share the sentiment at least now.
Because I've done follow-up emails, sorry, for an event that I do every year in Manoa. I have to have documentation that I presented it. So I just always get the chair to say like, it was presented, this was the sentiment, and then we proceed.
Okay.
So, but if you want the actual written letter, that's normally has to be on an agenda so that we can vote on it.
Okay, so it would be presented at the next meeting. Oh,
Yes, that's my understanding as well, if we're supposed to vote on something, but can we do Michelle, did you have a comment?
Yes, it's not visible or clear to me where this is located, and I did hear about the description of the size of the box. We don't know whose box it is. But I haven't seen any illustration of what is being proposed either.
Is it, it's in the Google Drive.
Right?
She can't see this.
Oh, is this it?
Okay, thank you.
Which,
As I mentioned, there's something wrong with the materials drive. And it is not configured the way it was before.
Okay.
Somebody has to look into that.
yeah,
So for our purposes today, Linda, do you have your hand up or is that Aaron?
And the location?
The location's on the corner of Montserrat and Leahi on the school corner. I guess right where that chain link fence is.
It's actually on the Queen Kapiolani garden side.
Okay, on the catty corner side of that. Okay.
the Montserrat.
It's in
It's on-
Kapiolani Park?
Yes, it's in Kapiolani Park.
Rose Garden side.
Yeah, at the, it was the hibiscus garden. Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's diagonal from the school then.
correct, right. Thanks for the clarification.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know that we can vote on anything this time, but
Maybe a sentiment.
say it again.
Can we do what Angie suggested, the sentiment?
A sentiment.
Sentiment letter
Well, no, just like an email that says
Oh,
like
so
they
it's been emailed?
presented it and then the chair says like.
from the board.
Yeah.
Would the secretary draft that, Missy?
I mean, I'd be happy to draft something, just saying that you presented, I don't know if, can we vote on a sentiment that we're feeling today? Is that, I guess we can't really vote on anything, but I think you've gotten a prevailing feeling here about how people are thinking about this, but I know you have to go through some other hoops, which is MOCA and, and some technical details before it can be finalized, but I think, coming before the neighborhood board, I know they have their own guidelines about the electrical boxes as well. This is probably, I think this probably hits all of them, from my recollection to that, but I think it's wonderful that you have this program and that you're involving the students. And where are you going to go to school next after this?
Hello, Kumana.
Oh, Halakumana. Okay. Is that sixth grade or seventh grade or sixth grade? Okay. Well,
You're
we will get on
welcome.
the, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
If this is Kapiolani Park Trust land, they will need to consult with the Kapiolani Park trustees as well.
That is true. You should consult with Kapiolani Park Preservation Society probably also.
The trustees are the city council. The Preservation Society is a private organization.
They may want to weigh in too, but yeah, the city council are the trustees for the park. They wear dual hats, but it may need to go by them since it's sort of an art installation on this land as trust land. If it were at the school side, it's a different matter. So you may just need to follow up with them.
Okay. And then, do I give you guys my email, to contact?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, how do should I just write it on?
Yeah, maybe you could give it to Camille.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll come to you right after this. Perfect.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having us.
It's great. An art teacher in elementary school. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very brave to come in front of a group of people. After that, we have our Na Wahine Festival on August 4th. And is it Pacienza? Are you online? Okay, thank you. Okay, there is a Na Wahine Festival on August 4th. I think there's something in the Google Drive about that. But if not, you can Google it. We have a candidate forum on well, I see we have a candidate here. Well, and I would just say, since you didn't want to introduce yourself, but do you want to introduce yourself and, or? You're okay? Okay. There will be, I will just mention that here, there is one more candidate forum. Civil Beat had a forum, which was a couple weeks ago, maybe last week,
Like 2 weeks ago?
maybe two weeks ago, let's just say, to make the math easy. There was also a candidate forum for District 20, which is replacing Bert Kobayashi. We have at least 5 people running. Actually, it might be six people running. There is another candidate forum which is taking place, and we are invited to join in, of course. It is under the auspices of the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board and the Kaimuki Business Association. It will take place immediately following a shortened meeting of the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board, which Dan will tell us what day that is. The next Kaimuki Neighborhood Board is on a piece of paper.
Sure.
They are adjourning their normal meeting at 7 p.m., which is when the candidate forum will start. So it's your last good chance to see folks and ask some questions at the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board, which meets at, I believe it meets at the library, the Kaimuki Library. Is that
Yep.
right, Kevin?
Wednesday. Yeah, third Wednesday.
The third Wednesday. So they're going to have a very short meeting, and they meet at the Kaimuki Public Library Meeting Room, which is downstairs. It faces Kaimuki Christian Church. So be there at 7 o'clock on the third.
Yeah, third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday, which is going to be
8:30.
next, is it next Wednesday?
Wednesday, right.
Oh, okay, is that the third Wednesday? Okay. Okay, so that is a chance. Are there any folks here? I don't see any folks running who are online. Okay, then with that, Mr. Cookie, are you here for the mayor's office? I don't see Mr. Cookie, which is very rare for him to not be here, but I will convey those concerns that you mentioned, Linda, to him about the bus. If there's any other concerns that you want to the mayor's rep, please email him directly, or maybe can we email Camelia and you could send those along? Okay, thank you. We have committee reports. So basically we have these committees that need to be staffed. So I think for right now, we have some new folks on, we might have some new folks from next month, because I think some have missed a number of meetings. But we have an environment committee chaired by Arlene Velasco. We have Parks and Recreation chaired by Margaret Murchie and Dan Decker. We have Planning and Zoning chaired by Michelle Matson, and Traffic and Safety also chaired by Margaret Murchie. So if you are interested in serving on those committees, it would be nice to have them up and running to deal with the issues that they deal with. We did have a meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee yesterday at the Kaimuki Library.
Yeah.
And Margaret and Dan, do you want to tell us about what we discussed there?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was good. It's a whole hour dedicated just to parks and recreation. More specifically, we went through like making it a dog, making that area. What is that area?
Well, it's, I don't know, it's entrance to this complex.
It's right off it's on the other side of this clubhouse.
Right off the cover.
Just right over there.
Yeah, right in front of the library on Kapahulu on the Eva Mauka corner, where the base yard was forever. Yeah.
So they're taking it, I see them taking it down, so we want to know if we want to make it like a community dog park. And so we're trying to push to kind of stop them from making it a base yard.
That's what I ran into Laura Thielen. Yet, am I allowed to talk here? I'm not sure.
Please, yeah, dedicate my time to you.
I ran into Laura Thielen this morning, checking out the park. But yeah, the staging area for Hawaiian dredging is supposed to have been returned to us. And it would be nice if we had some sort of a park, community gardens, or dog park, because people can't, they're not supposed to be taking their dogs into the park there. And someplace for a community gathering, because right now, what'll happen is you get a lot of the homeless, and I think this would be a detraction to have people there, dogs there, a community gathering place, and you green it up a bit. So if we could come up with something, because otherwise it's going to end up being like a construction site, for all the equipment that I guess that's what you meant by base yard. I don't know. But
Right.
if we talked about this and we just thought that, we were bouncing around ideas about it. And we just thought that it'd be nice because people don't have any place to go around there. They really don't have any parks other than in Kapiolani. And for the neighborhood, for Kapahulu. And we, with their plans for development, it'd be nice to just have save one spot for a park.
So, Mr.
Go ahead.
Well, Mr. Chairman, Margaret and I wanted to introduce a resolution on for the rest of the board members to move forward with making, going through the process to make this a community dog park. I mean, how did you guys feel, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna ask, how many people attended that meeting?
It was Winston, it was Winston, me, and
Margaret.
Were there any members of the public or?
They were invited. Nothing.
Nobody?
No one came. No, just three of us.
We're down to, so. And Linda, do you have a comment or is your hand just up?
I would rather have a dog park than a base yard. I'd rather just have a plain old park, but you always have the homeless gathering when you put another park, so that's, like we had to close the one on, what is it, Dade? Yeah. So that's what I had to say, thank you.
Okay, and I will add that, how long did it take us to get rid of the base yard there? Years and years and years that Hawaiian dredging's been there. They're still not gone yet. And so that's, part of what yesterday, what we talked about was this idea to completely remove what's there and to replace it, to have it be a place, as Dan was saying, it's a community dog park. It's for people to activate that space. That's really, it's kind of like a remnant piece that is fenced on two sides by the golf course. And it's, right now it's just been a blight, a visual blight. And so the other thing is that, the city only has 9 dog parks for 1 million people. This has been a really needed thing for this community. It abuts right here at Waikiki. There's tens of thousands of people in this area that could use this. If we have a dog park, it's also a good place, not just for community and the dogs, but it keeps then dogs, for them to have their own place in the park rather than going to all the parks. And so it's also comports with this area's zoning, which is P2 zoning, which is designed as an open green space area. It also comports with the Diamond Head Special District, which says we need to keep open views here. The city, of course, could squat the land with anything that they wanted to there, but that wouldn't be in keeping with what this area is designed for as the entrance to Waikiki. You have a dog park, it comports with a park. Yes, sir.
Sorry, no, I think it's a good discussion, but now we have Linda raising her hand and everything, and this is on the agenda later. So
Okay, Linda, is your hand up
I was
again?
just gonna say, unless there's any more.
You're on mute.
Yes, it is up, thank you. That would be really good because the seals moved from Kaimana Beach because people were bothering it and bringing dogs down to the park. So if the dogs can go to the dog park, there's no reason for them to bring them to Kaimana Beach. That's why the
That's huge because they had issues with dogs.
Yeah, Vaughn, let's go on to.
Let's move on. Okay, so we have a,
We moved on to resolutions section.
okay. So thank you for our Parks Committee. Everybody decide what committees you want to be on, if any, or if we need other ones. We have two resolutions before us. One is urging the city to take proactive steps to combat illegal gambling operations on Oahu. The city just passed a resolution towards forming a task force or something to that effect today. This is just in support of that. Do I hear a motion to
So
adopt this resolution?
just like a verbal support, 'cause there is no resolution.
There wasn't a resolution?
That's the question.
I can't find a resolution on the.
Okay, then because we don't have that, then it's a, can we take any vote on this then?
You can. Yes, you can.
Sure.
I don't know that, I think someone was going to submit a resolution, but I just put it on there. If we didn't have a resolution, then,
I don't know, because I don't know who you're in contact with to like.
okay, then because we don't have anything in there or that didn't make it in there, let's move on to the next one then. And maybe next month we can give our support for that once we have a clear one. Which is resolution for establishment of Kapahulu Dog Park on the Eva Mauka corner of Kapahulu Avenue at the entrance to the Alawai Golf Course. Yes, sir.
And I just want to make a note while we're talking about this, because it's happened a couple times, and I also feel bad for that presenter too, who showed up and we couldn't do anything tonight. But it's just, as Sunshine Law has adapted two things. Anyone who's interested in submitting something to you to be placed on the agenda that they want an action on, like a resolution, like a letter, needs to be on the Google Drive and distributed at least 48 hours in advance. That's Sunshine Law. So,
Okay.
so even if you put something on the agenda and you've got 6 days before, the agenda
Yeah.
goes out, something like a resolution like this needs to be to everybody else within 48 hours.
Okay.
So this can't come the day before our meeting or 4 o'clock the day of our meeting, 48 hours.
Okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, just-
Thanks for the clarification.
Can there be a notice too on emails? Because,
Sure.
I don't, I work a lot of full time, so to get at least a little ping, that there's something on Google Drive, it's not a normal chat.
We could do that, but I noticed there were like a lot of things put in today by the mayor's office. Could we sign up for notifications as?
So reports and stuff like that, like if there's no action being on those, then those can just go in whenever. But if we're getting resolutions and stuff like that, those need to be in 48 hours. So bare minimum, I would say, you should be within 48 hours, you should be looking, whatever it should be.
Is there a way to get pinged by that? Arlene is sort of asking if we have that ability inside of the city.
You can try and figure something out, but just
Okay.
do that.
I would just say check back.
Yeah, but just maybe if I'm aware that 48 hours. like Dylan just said.
Okay.
Because we want to stay within sunshine parameters, so it would be the notice of the resolution on the drive within 48 hours. And would it be a notice as well for the email for a committee meeting? To your knowledge,
That's
Dylan?
a week in advance.
Oh, it's a week.
Yeah, so the agendas will always go out submitted by the chair 7 days in advance, go out to the public 6 days in advance.
Okay.
So that way we all know 6 days out what's going to be on the agenda for the next meeting. But the actual material itself, if it's things that we're going to be voting on or deciding on, we need 48 hours. That resolves the problem of things getting kind of dropped on us at the 11th hour that we haven't had a chance to look at or the public.
Got it. Sure.
Okay.
Duly noted.
So thank you for the clarification, Dylan. Moving on then to this resolution that we have in front of us. It has been in the Google Drive, and it's a short resolution. exactly sort of what we've been talking about. And like I said, it's P2 land. It's about 65,000 square feet, the property involved. There's a space that you could put a little dog park and a big dog park. It is about the same size as the Diamond Head Dog Park over by the cemetery. That's about 60,000, 55,000 square feet. And there's a picture of that in there. So I said, that does comport with the Diamond Head Special District, as far as I'm aware. It would comport with our P2 zoning. The resolution itself, we've asked for the base yard to be completely removed. It's not. It's supposed to be restored to park-like conditions. I think that's going to happen. Right now, it has graffiti on it, if you drove by and saw that. So it's a little bit connected here, but asking that the city take over the full and complete oversight of removal of that and restoration to at a park-like land. Again, we only have 9 dog parks for 1 million people on this island that are official dog parks. And we figure about 40% of folks have dogs on this island. It helps with meeting people, connecting with community, activating this area to reduce crime, just to, increase our mental, physical, emotional well-being, as well as that for dogs. And actually, interestingly enough, one other point is that if we don't keep this as a parkland, the city will want to use it for something else, like a base yard for the Parks Department. So instead of having an open area there, we would have a structure, be housing vehicles. The Parks Department has expressed interest to make that a base yard. And I don't think that's consistent with that. I put forth this resolution and wrote this as well. And I can also say that even inside of, as far as creating community goes, if you're walking down the street and you are just walking down the street and you start and you say, hey, hi, oh, people are going to call 911. But if you have a dog, then they're like, oh, your dog is so cute, right? And you can have a conversation. And I could say, actually, I met this young man. We were both walking our dogs and the dogs liked each other. So they started playing right in front of this area where we're talking about.
Right. So it's kind of like it's community, that's true community, service or a community organization is when you start talking with your people. So I think the park's a great idea.
And that was before Jan was ever on the board. I talked about the board.
Right. I didn't even know about the board.
No, yeah, because we talked, I said, I met you before somewhere. Couldn't quite figure it out.
Right.
Anyway, so I would entertain a motion to adopt this resolution. Is that anyone interested in this, adopting this resolution?
So
Second.
Who was the first?
Me, Linda.
Moved by
Linda.
Linda, seconded Margaret. And discussion? Yes, sir.
So I supported getting rid of the base yard. So, I mean, that's, I agreed with you and I'm really glad you pushed that. My concern at this point is not necessarily the dog park. It's that I think in the resolution, you've asked in the vehicle resolved that the city administration shall engage with community members and stakeholders about the design, operation, or thing. Yeah, of course, I would like to see that happen. But I think as it stands right now, we're putting the cart before the horse. You had a 3-member meeting that no other members of the public showed up. Now we're 11 people right here in a district of tens of thousands of people saying this is what our community wants. And I don't believe that necessarily this is what our community wants until we've actually asked them what they want. So I would like to see maybe stakeholder engagement before we adopt something saying, this is what our community wants. Like, I would like to see the actual land cleaned up, get rid of the base yard, see what the property looks like, what it could be, before we say, let's just put a dog park there, and have our whole neighborhood board say, this is what our community wants, when nobody even showed up to that meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I agree with member Dillon on his comment. And I think we should let this kind of grow or let the thought expand according to whatever the proceedings seem correct.
Okay,
I might want to suggest that since it's kind of at the border of the Waikiki neighborhood board as well, that we engage them as well. So that they can spread the word, because you can bet that people from Waikiki will be walking over.
Sure.
yes, ma'am.
I would also, there's two considerations I had. One, if you're introducing a dog park in an area that currently there is a homeless encampment that is addressed constantly, we are outreaching there, but they also have dogs. So you're
Yes.
having their dogs near other dogs, and sometimes dogs don't get along, so that is a risk. The intention is that with a dog park, the other dogs are not there, but reality is people do what people want. So that is a consideration. And then additionally, if we are going to ask for an attraction where, or not attraction, but an area where there's a lot more community engagement, I would ask that in a resolution, we also consider bringing back an actually marked crosswalk by Rainbow Drive-In, so more people can access said spot instead of trying to run across. So my fear with a dog park is if a dog accidentally gets out, they gone.
Yes,
That is a hazard.
okay, yes.
So
And-
just to round it up real quick, I don't disagree with the sentiment. It's just, I would like to see, we're putting the cart before the horse right now. I would like to see the public engagement first before us making a decision on, yeah, that's what we would commit to.
Okay, and just to address what Angie said, I did do a walkthrough at Tommy Waters' office with Alex, and GTS is open to the idea of restructuring that very dangerous area, because two people were on bikes riding the wrong way on the street just as I was coming here, right in front of my car.
It's really bad.
Really bad. So that's one area
Yeah.
that they are considering doing that. Margaret?
I was just reading Amanda's, I don't know whether it was to all of us or just to me. She said that Chair Waters very much supports the idea of a dog park there. We need a neighborhood board resolution to pursue it.
Okay,
And I think the support is great, but I think that we should be a bit more mindful of how we just say, this is what our community wants when no one's been asked, or no one knows.
Sure.
fair enough.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I may, maybe we should put on, maybe we should introduce a few more discussions, bring it to the community. Give people that come their 2 minutes to say their piece on a dog park there.
That's true. I mean, it's been on our agenda like anything else, but I'm not opposed to that idea. I mean, I'd like to have broad-based support for this, if that's what we're going to do here. And I think the Waikiki Neighborhood Board is a really good idea.
Sure.
Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people there with dogs. As far as the homeless and their dogs, yeah, I mean, they're not on leashes and sometimes they do come, but that is, I think, a separate issue from that, because our dogs, if they're especially attacking other dogs, that's not allowed. I mean, the police should be called in that instance. Go ahead, David Boydell.
Oh, thank you, Chair Watts. I like this resolution. And I just have, well, there's a couple minor formatting quibbles with it. One is that it has the regular meeting agenda header on it. And the other is that the resolved parts kind of sound like they're ordering the city to do stuff, which we don't have the power to do. But I guess we can do it anyway, and they know we don't actually have the power to do it. So, but they can understand what the board's intention is for that. But as for community engagement, I wondered are there any dog owner organizations or like clubs or dog training places that we could engage with and have attend meeting and provide any input for? Thank you.
It's a good question, and I'm willing to suss that out.
I think that's stuff that can be looked at in the community.
Okay. And Linda, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, I really do. Concerning your last comment, you can always see if you can post a sign at the Humane Society about the new dog park. I would get this on next month's agenda and have it move on it next month because if the director of parks is already looking at it as a base yard, you're going to have a base yard and a bunch of trucks there before you know it.
That's right. Yeah, and that's a main concern of mine. I appreciate all the comments today, and I think it's fine I'm happy to withdraw this, postpone it for a month and get some more time to do that, or what's the correct procedure? Withdraw this and bring it back in a month and look at this. But I think your points are very salient, Linda, is, there's.
That's how it works. That's how it goes.
That's how it works. And especially now that they're on notice that we do want something there,
This is a clarification question because they've started moving stuff out.
It's mostly empty at this point.
So the question is, if they're moving stuff out, now you're saying they're moving stuff back in.
Hawaiian Dredging, which has been using that as a base yard to fix the Alawai Canal, is moving out. Their lease expired, but Department of Parks and Recs is having to leave Kapiolani Park. So that's their base yard for the whole island of if a tree falls down or different things. So that's the concern, is that this area, it's just like something to be squatted on with something that our board has previously said we don't want a base yard there. So I'm happy to withdraw this.
We don't want something there, and now we're jumping to this is what we want.
Correct. So I'm happy to withdraw this for a month or so and get some more support. And Amanda, I think you got a comment too.
Hi, hello everyone. I just wanted to, it's not a big point, but I just wanted to clarify. According to DPR, Hawaiian Dredging actually did vacate as of April. So they're no longer there. They're no longer involved with that site at all. And it's DPR who is continuing to restore the site to the former park-like conditions and repair the irrigation system. So it's taking a little bit longer than they had anticipated. But they said that they do hope to remove the fencing and open it back up to the public in the next month or two.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Amanda. Then with that new information, because it feels like Hawaiian Dredging's still there. I mean, the soil has to be remediated, it looks like to me. I'm willing to withdraw this, rewrite it to reflect that, invite in some other community participation, like the Mr. Boydell said about if there's dog groups, I'm not sure, but there must be veterinarians, the Humane Society and others. But I did want to get this before us right now because I'm aware that this other stuff is moving. And so it's on everybody's radar. So I think we should have some sense of awareness and it's not urgent, but it's important, I think, for this board. So with that, I will withdraw the motion and bring it back another time. Thank you, everybody, for your very good thoughts on this. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which, let's see, sorry, I did to go. Okay. Elected officials reports. Is there anyone from Mr. Case's office? And you brought up a very good point about Mr. Case's office coming before.
Sure.
Mazie Hirono, Brian Schott's office. Our governor, do we have a governor's rep tonight? Seeing not, I don't know where she's been the last couple of months, but.
Chair, sorry. This is Ryan. I'm here with the governor's office.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ryan. Go ahead.
I'm just here to, I can share in the chat a link to the governor's latest newsletter, Kealoho. There's just a few things that he highlighted that you can check out. A couple of things are the FestPac. Hawaii was the host for the first time, and there were over 2,200 delegates who gathered for that 10-day cultural exchange, and hopefully all or some of you got a chance to take part in some of those events. A couple other things. There was some bills signed for addressing cost of living, tax breaks for families, and there was also some information about some commencements, graduations for students on Maui and Molokai. But I'll share that in the chat. I'm here if there are any questions that I can take back to the governor's communications team that I can have for next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Are there questions for the governor's rep? Arlene?
Yes, I was just reading an article from the Sierra Club regarding the budget cuts that the governor signed recently regarding the agricultural bill that would have increased personnel to do things such as try to really eradicate the fire ants and the beetle, the coconut beetle. And I am concerned about some of the invasive species that we are really fighting right now. I'm part of the Diamond Head Community Garden, and fire ants are a real issue there. So if the governor is cutting budgets for agriculture, my question is he, how committed is he to helping the communities get rid of these invasive species that we're dealing with?
Right. I can definitely take that back. I know there are several other state agencies and other partners that are involved in working with invasive species and keeping those in check. But I can take that back to their team and get a more precise answer for you.
Right, thank you.
And any other questions for our governor's rep? Margaret?
Hi, Ryan. I know that with that Senate Bill 3202, they're talking about, multiple dwellings on, small lots. I'm confused because I was under the impression that we were supposed to be doing transit-oriented development in those particular zones. And the agreement when we gave more money to HART to continue, the agreement was that the state was to build affordable housing around these stations. And I haven't seen any plans at all for that. What's the deal? Because what we're seeing, what's going to happen is we're seeing developers, come to town and want to go into the urban areas that are settled residential areas. And it's kind of disappointing that we're not supporting the rail by building the agreed upon housing out there. Is there a plan?
Gotcha. I'm not aware of that, but I can take it to the team and get an answer for you for next time.
Yeah, and say hi to Sylvia.
Will do.
Thank you. Linda?
Thank you. I wanted to ask if there's a representative from the governor every month, and that we enjoy seeing you. Maybe you could at least submit the governor's newsletter that we could put in our drive every month. And I wonder if you had any comments about what the governor slashed, didn't, vetoed, and what he passed.
I can definitely make it a point to get that newsletter to you sooner, so you can have it as part of the materials for the meeting. And I don't know, on that last question, I would have to take that to the governor's communications team.
Okay, it doesn't seem like there's a representative every month from the governor.
Thank you. And
we're always glad to hear from him, and we'd like a representative.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Noella?
Oh, hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. Good evening, Representative of the Governor. It's so nice to see you. We usually don't have this, so I love Linda's suggestion of, at least send us anything you can. Let the governor know we're out here doing the groundwork, blah, that. But anyway, long story short, I just want to ask you to relay to the governor that with the election season coming up, there is a issue with the ERIC system of third-party people voting components to uh, facilitate our elections here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and statewide. And with that said, there is a lot of opposition because a lot of our personal information will be turned over to a third party. And we, talked to the election commission. We tried to parlay with them, do Pono with them, and it's a little scary. And so, a lot of people are thinking they don't want to vote. They don't want to vote. So my point is that I know it will come to the governor based on procedure, sir. And
Mhm.
I would ask that you folks, really take a look at this because I'm concerned about it as well as a lot of other people. So thank you very, very much. I'm sorry to be so long-winded. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you, Noella. And it's about the ERIC. It's sort of a kind of an amalgamated voting system of many states. If you can, yeah, anything you can get back to us on that, Ryan. And can you tell us what your position is with the governor's office, and will you be coming regularly for our board?
Yes, I will be. I actually work with the Department of Land and Natural Resources in their communications office, but just here as a representative for the governor's team.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. I think Bruce Wong has a question for you.
Yeah, I have a question for the governor. I heard that there was going to be some kind of rebate for HGA employees because of the time they spent 3 years at home from COVID. There's some kind of rebate that was coming up, and I heard the rebate was going to be anywhere between 10 and 20,000 per worker. So I was thinking that instead of having that rebate, that a lot of that money could be put into the community, for different programs like what was mentioned tonight. Eradicating the rhino beetle, eradicating fire ants, developing parks. There's so many other things that the money could be used for instead of doing a rebate for the employees that were staying home and working from home, because the work has already been done, and it's just like a freebie. And so I think that money could be spent more wisely for our community. Have you heard anything about that?
The only thing that I've heard, and I believe the plan is already in motion. I'm not 100% positive, but I know those state workers who were working at the office, like I think it was partially kind of hazard pay, if you will. I guess folks who were working from home would get the lesser amount of that 10,000, and then the workers who at least had 420 days plus within that 2-year period, 2021 and 22, I believe, would have the option to receive that $20,000 back. I don't know if that is coming to fruition or not 100%, but that's what the last that I've heard of it. And that was for state workers who were working from home would get the lesser value, and then the workers who were working at the office, at state offices, would be have the opportunity to receive the higher amount. But I can look into that and see if that is still the coming online here.
But again, in my opinion, that's a waste of good taxpayer dollars that could go into something else. So
Gotcha.
I just want to make that point.
I can definitely relay that to their team.
Thank you, Bruce. And Linda, is your hand errantly up? I'm guessing, or you didn't take it down? And same for Noella. Are there any other questions for our governor's rep tonight? Can you tell us, Ryan, have all the bills been signed or vetoed or by the governor at this point?
To my knowledge, I believe so, but I don't, I'd hate to say that out of turn, so I can, double check that with their comms team and let you know for sure.
Okay, thanks. So, and we have Senator Ihara here. He's probably can fill us in on that too. Well, thank you very much for coming and staying tonight. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, actually, Senator Ihara, you are good timing. So, we don't have a Olelo tonight, so if you want to come here, you're kind of in the camera.
What is the best for everybody?
Right there. Right there's good. Yeah.
And I look at you or I look at everyone?
Sure, you can look at me or you can look at Camilio.
Okay, I'll use wide angle. I can see right.
Wide angle.
So you may answer the first question?
Yes. Yeah, you know it.
So today's Thursday, right? So Tuesday was a day that the Constitution sets aside for the legislature to override a bill or override any vetoes on our own. We can just show up and we don't have any issue. We don't have to give notice or anything. That date passed, and so all the bills are law except for the 7 that he vetoed. And whatever he didn't sign are automatically become law. I believe he signed, I don't recall seeing any that he did not sign. Yeah, I think he signed or not. Some governors, were there some that?
3 or 4. Yeah.
I would have thought so, because they don't want to.
Saw it listed in the table.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So there's that. And a couple weeks before that, the Senate was in special session for judges. So now we are entering an inactive period where we're not expected to go back in until January, the 3rd week, Wednesday in January. I think there's going to be some a Supreme Court justice and some other vacancies, but I think they're going to time it so that we can, because they have to announce it and recruit, and you have to do all of the Judicial Selection Commission, and then it comes to legislature. So I'm anticipating in January. We haven't been given notice any other time this year. I happen to not run, so I'm at the office a lot, whereas most of the other legislators are out in the field, doing their community work. Let's see. So I'm not sure if you have any questions or.
If we have any questions for Senator Ihara.
Yeah, I will be, and usually these issues are most city and we're really inactive. We get paid, but and so for us, if there's anything that bubbles up into a policy like legislation, or sometimes we interface with the executive branch where we have to, but a lot of times you have the governance rep, so they can handle a lot of the executive issues directly. Sometimes if they're not or whatever, then we can step in, or we can help them. Other than that, then I have 2 full-time year-round, and so we're like a mini nonprofit. So you can, if you have any legal questions, research questions, process questions. I'm trying to set up a system. I've met with today Hawaii 1,000 Friends, the executive director. We're planning to set up a system of having various experts that know a lot of the law, various laws. 202, the one that increases density of residents. There's EISs and there's affordable housing. They want to basically have each community be prepared so that the projects, even CIP projects, like the All-the-Way Bridge, for example, that come down the pike, that the communities have the wherewithal, because usually they just react and just go a little nutty because you're not prepared. So we want to prepare people and have, have some sessions where they can learn these processes so that it's not a surprise. So we're going to set up a tracking system of, Land Use Commission, PUC, all of these various boards and commissions to track projects as they move along. I'll be giving you an update on that as I go along.
Okay. Yeah, and thank you for that. I was talking with someone today and they, we found out that the 201Hs or the 3202 or even the city can exempt themselves, get waivers to put really anything anywhere. And, you could put a high rise in front of Diamond Head, for example, and block the view. I hope it wouldn't happen, but it's theoretically possible. And I wonder maybe we could work on some legislation to say, especially in these special districts throughout the city or the state, I don't know if there's other special districts on the other islands, but to say this is a special character of this neighborhood, the view, whatever it is, that we need to protect that regardless of these other, ramifications of the law. There's just certain things about that. So people can come to you at this time before January if they have some ideas about legislation that they want to talk about.
Right. And I just be aware that I voted no against Senate Bill 3202, but we're greatly outnumbered. So we can propose all we want. Now, in that case, for the 3202, the urban density or the residential density bill really is in the county's ballpark. Because the legislature basically said, if you don't pass an ordinance, then this takes place. So, and now it's the council, and then you're going to have a slightly different council because there'll be some changes. And so the majority of the council will determine and their take on what it is they want, or they adopt. They have 2 years, I think. So they got some time. And so my plan is to build up enough sober community activists, voices in the community to then speak together on their common interest. Not just one. Right now, every community is fighting on their own, but if you look around, they have all similar type of concerns about the process and whatnot. And my goal, one of the legislation I'd like to have is rather than the community is usually at the tail end, you go through the process at the tail end. What I would prefer right now, a lot of it is fast tracking. Shall I continue?
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah.
Okay. It was a low tone, so it's like an off tone rather than out tone. So that would be to have, if there's a community, enough leadership and consensus of a community as to, because every community needs housing for their family and friend. But if they have a site and what kind, and if you have a values-based type of developer, then if they can agree, then we fast track that. So to me, you should fast track what you agree on rather than hoping at the end that the community won't stand in the way, which, it's been hard for the community to somehow, on the one hand, you want to fight something, yet you want the housing. So it's a tough spot. So I'll be working on that.
Okay. Yeah, and for those of you who may not know, Senator Ihara was instrumental in the creation of the neighborhood board system. And has a great history with that. And maybe we could do, what would be good is just have an interview with you about how that all started and put it out on, it would be great, PBS Insights or Civil Beat, just to talk about the genesis of that and how it's progressed, and then where, you see it over the decades of where it could expand, where it needs help, where you've seen it be successful, all of that. So.
Sure. I'd be happy to. And just a short summary of that would be that I was there when it started and got the Windward Neighborhood Board started. But there are 3 empty districts. It's all bottom up. So I'm trying to find out if there's, and they're usually mostly predominantly military, but military, they also use our facilities and whatnot. So I'm looking at maybe if it works to have additional neighborhood boards, that would be one thing. And the other thing is that the next phase to me is having what I'll call a civic relationship between the neighborhoods boards and the legislators, because this is where one of the few in the nation that have a quasi-governmental citizens boards all around the island, except for 3 areas. And they, so it's in its charter and all that. And so the next level to me is to have an ongoing relationship, rather not a cat and mouse relationship or transactional, but a regular kind of human relationship, the kind that, that you care about each other. You don't, denigrate each other and so forth. So we can agree to disagree. So that's a trade with elected officials. As long as you agree to disagree, and you love the person anyway, even if they get you really mad, then I think we got a relationship. And the idea is to shift over from a transactional political relationship to a more of a human community type relationship with elected officials. And so that's one of the things I'm want to work actually with Winston, your board chair and other board chairs, to have a network. I've done maybe 4 efforts to have a neighborhood board based networks. And I can, I don't want to take up your time, but it's very interesting. I should write it up or interview. And then the last one was in, well, actually I won't take too much time. Anyway, so so that, anyway, I'll be reporting on that.
Okay. Okay. And you look like you want to speak.
No, I was just wondering, when you're talking about the relationship, is that all levels of the government with the neighborhood boards, like the city council, the Senate?
Yeah, anyone who, so let's say the board represents the community, a constituency as a community, more or less. And you relate wherever you relate to, right? The advisory capacity to the legislature, to the council, to the governor, to the mayor, to the congressional, to agencies, to probably even maybe other nonprofits who wanted to parade, So there's many entities you can advise. And to the extent that you have an open and honest relationship, so that there's really, I would say that, leave it at that, then things can work.
Yeah, because I was thinking in particular about some of the huge developments that have been pushed through our neighborhoods. And I say pushed through because it really felt like that. Like we were notified that we had, what, a week or two to get any public input, and all of a sudden we're gonna have a 26-story building at next to the storage shed in that, right across from the Humane Society. I mean, to me, that was it's a travesty that's been approved.
Yeah.
So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to get more of the spirit of the law followed, not just the letter of the law, because the letter of the law are created by policymakers, and they are funded by the developers. And so they want to cast a balance between developer friendly, yet not too friendly, because you don't want to destroy the community. But sometimes I call it unintended consequences. They didn't mean to do harm, but it happens. And so we need to improve our processes.
Because I was just made aware of another development that's being proposed on the west side. And it's in the Capilay area. And I've been asked to look into that and try to help them.
Ideally, to me, now there's been lawsuits and I believe boards have gotten in trouble in the past, but if someone is designated as a voice in a way they're going to facilitate the community's interest, and maybe outside the board, but with the board's blessing, and they go and see the developer and talk with them and negotiate the community's interest. And that person who has links to the various community groups going to report back to the community groups. They're being cooperative, they understand, or they don't even care about it. So, so some communication mechanism to relay the quality of the relationship between the proposers and to the recipients of the proposals, the community basically. And so it's really moving to a higher level of community leadership. Because it's been going so long. I think it's now time, And I think we're more mature somehow out of the pandemic. We're somehow, I do not get the sense that we're somehow a little bit more savvy about things. We can figure things out a little bit more. We had to, so we'll see if my assessment of the people are ready to rise and stand up projects and I will be their ally in the legislature.
Thank you so much for coming tonight, and you have perfect timing and all you do for our community, and we look forward to working for you in the future. Oh, I see we have a couple. Oh, wow. You've spurred them on. Go ahead. Bruce, you're the most ardently waving there, so I'm going to pick you first. You're on mute, Bruce.
Well, Senator Ihara, I just want to know, how does something like Senate Bill 3202 come about? And now that it's in our faces, it's so devastating. But how does something like that come about?
It's a national, I can tell you, it's a national movement. Senator Schatz is one of the co-sponsors of the national bill, YIMBY bill. And the target is redlining, on the mainland, discrimination. Now we're seeing systemic discrimination grossly. Insurance, where houses, where highways, all of that. And housing discrimination is one of the major efforts to keep segregation, having not people working together amongst ethnicities, and especially on the mainland. And so they would so all these developments, they would have a lot of developments, hundreds of lots or whatever, and they would have a deed restriction that you cannot sell to someone who's not white or whatever you call it. And so that was the core of it. The problem is that we're different because we're already a multicultural state. The YIMBY laws were designed for the monoculture, and the YIMBY law is to make it more multicultural so that people can, you can go into a neighborhood that you're restricted before. I don't think we have that in Hawaii. I don't know. I know Pacific Club and some clubs in the past discriminated against non-whites, but that's been long past. Well, not that long. So there was, and it came out at the last minute. So most people did not understand fully. I did research and I understood, and I was a clear no, because I would have done it differently. There's some validity to it, but I think it takes the level of validity it has and stretches it a little bit out of proportion, in my opinion. And so, to answer your question, it happened at the last minute. A lot of the community groups that are opposed to it, they didn't show up as strong at the very end. And by then it was already too late.
But then how does something like permitting and planning not do anything about monster homes in our neighborhoods and then pass something like this when they know we're up against monster homes? I just don't understand why.
Okay, I'll give you, well, I can explain it to you. So we have zoning laws and it's by zones. So whatever's in a zone, you can build. But there's another system called performative zoning, which I had proposed. Performative zoning is you zone based on the traffic, on the impacts. And right now we don't have that. And the reason we don't have that, it takes a lot of staffing to be able to make decisions as to approval or not approval a unit, because it's not just cookie cutter zoning. If it's on this map, then you can do it or not do it. So that's in a way the problem is. And nowadays I believe in the future with artificial intelligence and, and all the computers, is you're able to then have not cookie cutter results, but custom solution. But it takes a lot of effort and a lot of thinking and because it's fairness is a key. Right now we're in a more of a rights within this you give it a right and you have entitlements, and then you can actually sue. So that's a system that we've had, and I think this is an example of the systems we need to elevate to the next 2.0 or whatever, the next major systems improvement, systematic, not just one here and there. Basically, it's values-based governmental actions. Right now, governmental actions are not value-based. They are rule-based. Right? You have rules, and they say, oh, so-and-so, sorry, we can't help you because the rule says this. We have to be fair to everyone. We give to you, we have to give to everyone. So it's a rule-based system, and in a way, it's worked so far. But we're now shifting to what people want is values-based. And then it has to be customized, and then it has to be fair. I'm speaking way too long, sorry.
No, it's a really super valid point. And with that, Noella and Margaret, if you can put your points to Les Ihara in the chat, that would be good, because I'm cognizant we have a couple other people that we need to get through tonight. So
Just thinking quality of life for the residents.
okay, thank you. And thank you for coming today. And we have a lot to discuss. We need an interview about this that we talked about. I don't think Mr. Kobayashi is here tonight, but I do see Jackson Sayama. Hey, Jackson, thanks for being patient.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Chair. Hello, good evening, members of the board, members of the public. It's nice to see you. Not a whole lot from my office this month. Like Senator Ihara mentioned, the veto process is complete. Fortunately, there's only 7 bills on the cutting board this year compared to 23 last year, but still, there's still a lot of work to be done. And so during the interim this year, I'll be focusing a lot actually on the condominium governance reform. We do have a joint task force with the House and Senate, as well as industry and community advocates on this matter. I think you've seen on the news recently the increases in insurance premiums, and I think there's just a growing concern about the sustainability and efficacy of the self-governance model that we have employed. So I'm just doing my due diligence to gather stakeholders and work with the task force to propose a few legislations next session. I do want to give notice. There is a program at UH called the Nakupuna program. The registration just started today, and it's ending on the 22nd of this month. The Nakupuna program is available for kupuna who qualify, again, over the ages of 60. It allows them to enroll in a UH class for free. So, I think it's a great opportunity if you want to learn something new. Again, the registration is available online and it ends on the 22nd. I could send a link in the chat for your availability. And the final PSA I'll end with is, of course, it's election year. I'm sure all of you are registered to vote and will be voting this election cycle. But if you do have friends who maybe just turned 18, or if you have friends who are, sitting on the fence like, hey, being cynical, I don't want to vote and all that, get them to register, get them to vote. It's really easy to do so online through the Office of Elections. I just want to encourage everyone to do that. With that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Thanks, Jackson. And we have questions for Jackson Sayama. Okay, good public service reminder too. And probably some of us, well, some, maybe not of us, but some people out there may not have registered or voted in the last couple of elections. They might have dropped off, so they might need to re-register. But yeah, absolutely critical. Thanks for that announcement, Jackson. Is there anyone from Stanley Chain's office here tonight?
Yes, hi. My name is Emily. I'm from Senator Chang's office. And I actually left the links for the monthly district newsletter and the housing newsletter sign up in the chat earlier. So that's there. For some updates, on Saturday, July 20th, between 10 and 1. People over 50 can get a Kapuna ID safety card from HPD. This event will be at the Aina Haina Public Library. And on Saturday, July 27th, between 10 and 1, the annual Eastside Preparedness Fair will be at the Kahala Mall. Representatives from about 15 agencies and nonprofits will share information about emergency preparedness. For more information, you can contact ainaprepared@gmail.com. And lastly, there is this new tournament program called the Summer EBT, which is also known as Sunbucks. And they help to provide benefits to households with school-aged children to purchase food during the summer. Households will receive $177 for each qualifying child to be spent during the summer months. And so school-aged children are automatically eligible for these Sunbucks if the child was in a household that participated in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, so the SNAP, or the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, the TANF, in any month from July 1st, 2023 through August 4th, 2024, or has been identified as a ward of the state, identified by their school as homeless, migrant, or runaway, attended a school that offers the National School Lunch Program, and the household applied for was approved for free or reduced price school meals. For children who automatically qualify, the Sunbucks EBT card with the $177 benefit already loaded will be mailed out starting July 16th. And households should anticipate that it might take 1 to 2 weeks for the delivery. The mailing address is based on the school's school records or the household's mailing address per their SNAP or TANF case if the school record information is not available. And you could contact the Sunbucks customer service toll-free at 1-888-975-SEBT to report a change of address. And those are all the updates from Senator Chang's office. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. And that sort of information you can also just put in the chat as well.
For sure.
And, again, we would love to see Senator Chang. I can't remember the last year we had him here in person, but, we have Senator Ihar is able to come, Bert Kobayashi's regularly come, Jackson regularly comes. We have a lot of important issues that I think come up that are relevant for Senator Chang, and it would be nice to see him sometime. And I do want to just point out that we do have 3 candidates here that have slipped in as George Hooker and who else am I seeing there? John Choi and also Kevin Wong are here tonight, and they are running in that race for Kobayashi's district, who is going to be retiring this year. And again, the candidate forum for that with these gentlemen and some other candidates is next Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the Kaimuki Library. Okay. Thank you for coming tonight, gentlemen. I thought it was at 6. It's 7. Their meeting starts at 6:30, and they're going to do a half-hour mini board meeting. Yeah, good luck with that one. And then at 7, you guys are on. So, Ms. Matson, you have a question for Stanley Chang's representative?
I was just wondering if Stanley Chang has anyone running against him this time.
I don't think he's up for election. So, he's not. Okay, so yes. Okay, and with that, if there's no other questions, we will move on to Councilmember Waters' office. I see Amanda, thanks for all the help you always give us and info in the chat.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Just want to double check.
Yep.
Very good. Okay, thank you. I have some updates. So from the June 14th Kapalua walkabout that we did, with you, Chair, and Member Khan, and some members of the administration. We generated about 25 risers for various things, and I just wanted to follow up on a few of the responses that have come back. So the benches at Crane Park were cleaned and sanitized. Unfortunately, they don't have any plans to install trash can lids at this time, and that is something that we'd like to see. We did like the concept of the new upgraded trash cans that were donated and installed in Waikiki, also recognizing that there are some challenges with those, and not to mention they're pretty expensive, about $3,000 a piece. So we won't be pursuing that for all locations at this time, but it is something that we'd like to see for the future. Another issue was various locations where we observed homeless. So there were several enforcements conducted over the last month. There were also several work orders issued for various locations that we observed sidewalk damages, trip hazards. We requested painting for the pavement markings along the Alawai Golf Course bike path, Kapahulu and Date Street paths. So there's a work order for that now. The Border Water Supply pump station, they removed the graffiti over there at that location. We requested a replacement sign for the very faded Alawai Golf Course sign, and in fact, it has already been purchased, but they haven't decided on an installation date, and they are considering relocating it. They didn't say to where. HPD conducted Kapahulu Avenue speed enforcement several times over the last month. And again, the Hawaiian judging site, those folks have vacated as of April, and DPR is working on restoring that site. Next, I wanted to mention, Chair, you had mentioned the need for more transparency and notification to boards with crosswalk removals or relocations. And I had recalled that Chair actually did introduce a bill for that, and it did pass. So it's Ordinance 20-38. I'm dropping it in the chat now. So we do have something on the books for it. It establishes requirements concerning the administration's provision or offer to provide a presentation to the affected neighborhood board prior to the removal or relocation of an established marked crosswalk. So we're going to be discussing follow-up to this and why we think it's not happening, or if it's happening. We'll probably be requesting an informational briefing at our transportation committee, but I'll report back more on that. And then, let's see, I want to kind of go through this quickly because I know we're running out of time. Wanted to mention mahalo to WVID. They donated $85,000 to the city for HPD's District 6 to address various illegal activities. And then the rehabilitation of Kalakaua Avenue was completed Friday, July 5th. They are working to restore manhole covers, restriping the roadway, reinstallation and programming of traffic light sensors in the roadway. So lane closures will continue for about the next month or so, and I'll continue to provide those updates to the board via email as we receive them. And then I did have several legislation updates, but I want to be respectful of time and kind of wrap up there. I did mention previously or forward the gambling task force that was established with the passage of resolution 24-143. And then for the PUCDP, I know Andrew put that information in the chat earlier this evening, just the link to that. That's something that we want to keep bringing up and keep talking about and keep reminding folks to learn more about as the opportunity becomes available for more public comment and feedback on that. And with that, I'll take any questions or concerns you may have.
Thank you, Amanda. Yes.
Hey Amanda, it's Angie. I have a question about the ordinance, the one about the crosswalks. Do you know offhand if, aside from just announcing it at neighborhood boards, do they actually post anything on their crosswalks, like general vicinity, if they are removing the crosswalk?
Yeah, good point. There is a provision in the bill for that. Yes, that there should be an actual physical posting at the location.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, if not, just literally a sign that says "Do not cross." I feel like would be very impactful for showing crosswalks that don't exist. Thank you.
And Michelle, do you have a question, or is your hand up from before?
Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda, for following up on all those things. I think Bruce he's waving for us, and we got to keep it short. So Andrew's got some time. So go ahead, Bruce. You're on mute.
I just returned back from Maui, and while I was there along the Waikapu Strip in Wailuku, they installed 3 speed humps while we were there. So they go in like instantly. I mean, it's very quick. And so to me, if you want to slow traffic down, put those speed humps along Kapalua Avenue. And then you can put in more crosswalks again, but you have to slow the traffic down. Just like how they did on Pensacola by McKinley High School. It's a no-brainer to me. If you want to slow traffic down, put in those big wide speed humps, and they work. And so to me, I don't know why we don't put more of those in, because even along Palm Avenue, they need to be, some of them need to be put in to slow traffic down.
Thank you, Bruce. Said it's a good point.
Thank you,
Bring it up.
Member Wong.
We need that at our traffic and safety. We should have a committee meeting on that immediately. So, and with that, I do want to give Andrew some time. And also, could you remind us, Andrew, and what Amanda said about the PUCDP? I know that Esther said, Kia Aina said she would hold a planning and zoning meeting in our area. But Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Andrew from Councilmember Say's office here. I'll be presenting the updates tonight. Councilmember Say's July 2024 newsletter is in the chat. Yes, the PUCDP Primary Urban Center development plan. We are going to be having community meetings in the future. We're just waiting for a few things to be confirmed. But yes, please take a look at the link in the chat. The primary urban center stretches from Kahala to Pearl City, which spans through council districts 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and includes nearly like 20 neighborhood boards. So the plan will guide public policy on investing and decision-making related to development in the primary urban center. So best to learn as much as you can, and then when public commenting comes, you'll be prepared. This past month, we've been working with the St. Louis Heights Association on a few concerns. We were requested for our office to submit work orders for the installation of no parking signs on the lower end of Oswald Street. These signs were installed, but they were installed on already existing telephone poles. So I think the community said to be more effective, they are requesting the actual metal postings for the no parking signs. So we're seeing if a modification request can happen for that. Lastly, we received a few reports about a bent storm grate on St. Louis Drive. Constituents report that when cars drive over the grate, it slams very loudly. So our office put in an order for investigation, repair, and replacement as well. Other than that, that's all from me. If there are any comments, questions, or concerns, I'll be happy to forward them to Councilmember Say.
Thank you, Andrew. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns for Andrew? Okay, and yeah, thanks for putting that in about the PUCDP. It's a perennial concern to this neighborhood. I don't think we're going to finish all our agenda, but we're close, honestly. I do want to just jump ahead and say our next meeting is here. I'll get you in 1 second, Michelle. It's here. not at Pakihale. NCO changed us back here. So we are here next Thursday, August 8th, just to avoid any confusion, and virtually via WebEx. Michelle, did you have a question?
Yes, as the videographer was not present tonight, are we going to be able to get a video of this meeting through the Neighborhood Commission office as a WebEx video? I know they can do that. And I think
Yeah.
that Senator Ihara's comments tonight were absolutely right on. And we would really love to be able to refer back to them and learn more from them as all of this materializes. So is there a confirmation that we can actually have a video from this meeting? Because the minutes are very sparse.
Yeah.
So the recording for this WebEx recording, it's gonna be posted on YouTube and it will also be on Olelo.
Yeah.
that's
So the
perfect.
answer, yeah,
Thank you.
is the answer is yes. Okay, and any other questions before we move on to St. Louis Heights Subdistrict? Julia?
The St. Louis Heights Community Association meeting that was scheduled for this week, Monday, got rescheduled for this coming Monday, the 15th, 7 o'clock at Hokulani School.
Monday, 7
Monday,
o'clock,
15th.
Okulani. Okay, for the St. Louis Heights Association.
Still gonna happen. And yes, the improvement got made on the flying curve going up St. Louis Drive. We had just metal barriers that didn't cover the whole curve. It did get replaced. The city, yes, we're thankful to the city. So it's off, the whole curve now has those concrete barriers the whole way.
Oh, good.
You know, it's just a drop.
Yes, scary.
Curve.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great improvement, and they have approved a sidewalk where you're going up on that S curve, you're going up and then, you know, with traffic, people have to actually walk in the street. They will, I don't know what they are planning now to put an actual sidewalk in.
Okay,
So that's great news.
that is good.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
So exciting. Yes.
Amenity.
City paid attention. to our-
Okay, well, good. Good.
nice.
Happy news to end on. We don't have Kapalua Subdistrict 2. And Linda, did you have anything for Diamond Head? Are you on mute? Just gonna play that every time.
Fine. I have a Kaimana Beach report. I talked to Gene Alvarado, the chief engineer for the city now. And what they're trying to do is go through the water quality branch to get a more robust shower flow at Kaimana Beach, and to have the drainage work better and the floor, to make the floor more sloped up to the median. Laura Thielen is aware of what they're trying to do. That's through Department of Parks, but they haven't found the funding for it, so there's no action yet. I'm going to call Randall, who is department head of DFM and also the management for Kapiolani Park, and see what I can get done there. But that's as far as I got. Mike Formby is also aware of this, so I'll keep writing letters to him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for following that, Linda. I know it's been a many years issue. We appreciate that. And with that, we will not get to the meetings, but I hope that you all have a lovely July and Bastille Day, and we will regroup here next month. So aloha, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.